Hello again, friends! And you are our friends, and welcome back to another edition of Jim Cornette's Drive Thru right here on another beautiful December day in 2021. I'm your host, the great Brian Last, and of course, we have your questions. Lots of them. Random questions. We'll see what you guys have sent in to this man for him to answer, for him to opine on, for him to destroy. The leader of the cult of Cornette, Mr. Jim Cornette.
What's beautiful about it, Brian?
Well, the sun is out. Nice big clouds.
Where are you at? Oh, I forgot. You're in the landfill of the United States, New Jersey.
I'm in the garden part of the Garden State.
You're the garden part?
The garden part.
Well, have you ever been to a garden party up there in the garden part?
I have not.
Ricky Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band should have never got on that plane. But anyway, I was slappy. I was frolicking. I was in a good mood, a giddy mood even, festive and gay. Right before we go on the air, and then you have to mention what a beautiful day it is. Because I do not share that sentiment, Brian Last, because it's colder than a witch's tit here in Louisville, Kentucky today. The high is not going to get out of the 30s. And in the morning, overnight here sometime, after it gets dark, which it does around 5:30 these days. God, it's so miserable in the wintertime. It's cold and bleak. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. But anyway, it's not out of the 30s today. I'm seeing 31 degrees and sunny, which seems like a mutually exclusive term on my weather thing here on the computer machine. And
this sounds like a tag team being managed by Sonny on the Indies. 31 degrees and sunny.
Don't make me laugh. I'm mad. So anyway, tonight, overnight, into the morning, there's going to be snow flurries. I've got to get up early in the morning to go to the post office, see Miss Bree, and ship the last of the domestic packages. We're going to talk about that in a moment. In the morning, and it's going to be snow flurrying overnight. And then I'll have you know, this is, well, I guess I can. We're in a time vacuum here with the listeners. The day that I'm speaking of is Tuesday, that it's freezing fucking colder than a well digger's ass, colder than a banker's heart. And by Friday, it's going to be 70-something degrees. They can't, the weather gods can't make up their mind here, and it's got me all. I'm sniffly in the mornings, sniffly and snurfly, and crunky and cranky. You had to remind me about the weather. That's the only thing, Brian, that could have upset me today, was you reminding me of the weather.
Oh, just think about your hand on one of those cold witch's tits. How cold is a witch's tit?
I'll tell you, a witch's tit's cold, boy. I'll tell you what, it would freeze an Eskimo's nose. That's how cold a witch's tit is. But how was your weekend? I haven't spoken to you in a few days. You've had, I don't know if people are aware of this. You try to keep some of these things hidden. You're a very private person. You don't want people to take pity on you and send you gifts and well wishes. But you've had an annual anniversary since the last time we spoke.
I did.
Well, but extrapolate on that a bit, if you will. This is your show.
An annual anniversary?
Birthday, boy.
Well, there you go.
An annual anniversary, the day of your birth. A day that will live in infamy.
That's right.
You've had one.
On the anniversary of Altamont.
I thought it was Altamont.
I've heard it pronounced both ways. It's like Mike Lano. Lano.
I've never heard Lano pronounced Lano.
Bob Barnett pronounces it Lano. And he's the one, and he sued him in court, so he would know.
Wait, Bob Barnett pronounces it Lano?
Barnett.
Bob Barnett pronounces it Lano.
All right. This is the worst open. We're cold,
okay,
just like a witch's tit and a coal miner's ass. And
apparently the birthday was nothing special. You just went about your normal business. There's no story to tell here. Nothing more to see here, folks. Move along. Bring it up.
Yeah, I had a very nice day. I'm very happy.
You should have had a big stack of French toast with your candles stuck in the top of it. and blown the candles out and then eaten your French toast until it come out your fucking ears. That's what you should have done.
That's one of the things, that's one of the activities we did, in fact, do on my birthday. There was that. There was Carvel ice cream cake with the chocolate crunchies in the middle. You need that because I'm a child. And yeah, I had a very nice day. Very happy.
Well, one of the activities was eating the French toast or having it come out of your ears. And I didn't know that eating French toast classified as a family activity.
Well, you know, we do things a little differently up here in the Northeast.
God damn, do you have the children covered in syrup and you're just taking bumps on the French toast? Or how is that it's like a French toast version of fucking Twister with a syrup slip and slide. See, there would have been, I should be your birthday party planner. You would have talked about it more.
All right, well, it's your show.
Yeah, it's your show. I had a nice weekend. The Monroe brothers were out to the castle, did the leaves. Well, they did the front yard and around the house, and they're coming this coming weekend, weather permitting, to start in the backyard and get the leaves out of the creek. They were. I was happy to have them back. They're industrious folks, as we've mentioned before, and also over the weekend, Bobby Fulton came down to Louisville, visited with his son Dylan. Bobby Fulton is one of the few people that has visitation privileges at the castle. And I've made a promise to him. I said, if I ever, and this is a conditional promise, anything that begins with if, it's a conditional promise. If I ever, again, do a live personal appearance in public, advertised in front of the people, it will be on one of his shows.
Well, hold on. You can't promise that.
Why not?
We need to make sure Bobby can put up bond, and he can have enough money to secure a major thing like a Jim Cornette appearance. You can't give that away. You're too nice. You're too nice.
I'm gonna. Besides, I didn't say anything about giving it away. I mean, there might be some money changing hands, but I don't care about that because as the longtime listeners will recall, when last we left our castaways, I sound like the Lost in Space voiceover guy. I need one more show. Because if I have one more show and I accomplish my 40th anniversary, if it's in 2022, I get my 40th anniversary. That would be even 1982 to 2022 as a professional in the wrestling industry. And at the same time, I would get my fifth decade, 80s, 90s, zeros, teens, and 20s. And at the same time, if you consider when I made money from professional wrestling for the first time versus when I became a performer, then I would be getting my sixth decade because you could add the 70s. One show and can encompass all of that, and then I can be done with everything because I got the OCD for those even numbers and those milestones. I started to say landmines. That's not it might be, but it's a milestone.
When you say one more show means working ringside?
Well, no, just doing something on a wrestling show. I've retired from managing, but to do something on I consider it something on a show.
Why don't you go back to where you began and start taking photos of ringside again? We could sell them for like $15 a pop to, what is it? What's that magazine in England? $15 a pop. That's big money for photos.
Well, what's that magazine in England is the technical title. They call it WTMIE for short. But no, because see, then here's the thing. My knees, I can't kneel down at ringside anymore. That would be, and I can't get up if I am kneeled down. So I can't do that. That's why I quit managing, because I can't. It's like, okay, we're going to see the Rolling Stones, but Mick can't sing anymore, so he's just going to stand there and shake the tambourine. If I can't, I thought about this, as a matter of fact, sometime last year in a bored moment. I can't imagine when that was that I was actually bored. But I started thinking about all the things that I used to do working ringside as a manager. Not just bumps, but running around jumping up on the apron of the ring, running down to distract the referee, or, working the people or whatever. And I thought, okay, let me examine this piece by piece and determine now the probability that I could do any of this shit without hurting myself. Even just the start of the match, jumping down from the apron to the floor. And I came up with a 20 to 30% probability that I could hurt something or re-aggravate something that I've previously hurt, including my bad shoulder, my bad neck. You remember my back. I bent over a few months ago, stuck a flag in a yard and crawled around on my hands and knees in the house for 2 weeks. So I determined that all of those things are not calculated risks anymore. They're just probabilities that I'll herniate myself or throw my shoulder out or my knee will go out or whatever. And that's why I'm not managing it, much less taking bumps.
You could do the wheelchair gimmick.
Then people would think I was stealing from Ron Wright. A poor old crippled up old ex-wrestler just trying to make a living, and all those mean wrestlers that crippled him up like that. People would think I was stealing from him.
All right.
Anyway, so there's going to be I'm not doing it for the money. I'm just doing it for the round number and the landmine or the milestone. And I don't care about the money, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be doing it because there's still the matter of I would have to get on an interstate highway somewhere to do that, no matter where it was. And I've successfully stayed off all interstate highways, except when I picked Stacy up from the airport and when I'd taken her when she went to California for her mom's surgery. That's the only time I've been on the interstate in since the last time she went to California. Maybe they'll come and have the show in my backyard.
I think that would work out pretty well. You could have your neighbor as the lead heel. But let me ask you this. If you're going to do something on a wrestling show, whenever it is, it's not imminent, would you want to do something with guys that you have worked with in the past to celebrate the past in that way, I guess, and kind of close the book on that chapter of your life? Or would you rather be doing something with someone who's contemporary, who you endorse, to kind of say that, here's my way of endorsing the future of wrestling?
Well, you know what? When you started asking that question, I was going to say, well, on the part about working with guys who I have history with and were my contemporaries, the problem is if there ain't that many left anymore. If I go to where most of those are, I wouldn't be in fit condition to do anything myself to begin with. But then when you uttered the second part of the question and you said guys that you endorse today, well, fuck. There may be less of them than there still is living, breathing examples of 80s wrestling. So I don't know. That's a good question. It's one of those things that it just happens.
Let me ask you this.
Thumbs up.
Who's the first person you hit with the tennis racket?
Magnum TA.
Who should be the last person you hit with the tennis racket?
Shit stain.
No, but it has to be someone you'll work with. It can't be someone you actually want to hurt.
It can't be a shoot?
No, people you actually want to hurt.
As Magnum will tell you, my first one on him was a shoot too. I actually left a scar on him from that one.
How did you hit him? Did you hit him across?
No, here's the thing. I mean, this has been lost to time, I guess, because I hadn't thought about it till you just brought it up. But I'm carrying a tennis racket, but I didn't know how to work with it at first. As far as in what manner I should strike people with it, right? Because, I'm exposing my own business now, but what the fuck? Here are the mechanics of the tennis racket shot. Here you go, folks. This is first time. All this information's been in the same place at the same time. So I get the idea from the movie that I saw after our first Mid-South television. I come back to Nashville. We go see movie. It happens to be one of those teen movies, the early 80s. The rich kid in the crowd is carrying the badminton racket. Gives me the idea. So I get a tennis racket because a badminton racket is not that formidable, right? And the next time we go to the next Mid-South TV, which was the second one we did, which would have been mid-December of 1983. I showed it to Watts. I said, hey, I mean, he understood it immediately. All I'd say was, hey, manager gimmick. They've done canes, have done umbrellas, whatever. Tennis racket. I'm a rich kid. Yeah, boom, done.
You knew you needed a weapon at ringside.
Well, and that's the thing is I knew because the boys had told me, not just Bobby and Dennis, but the guys working the Louisiana Territory, my first TV in, we've talked about, they've joked, oh, they're going to kill you. And that's why I was thinking about what can I carry? Because several of the guys had brought up, yeah, carry something, have something. So anyway, I started using that there, but then I realized, well, okay, how am I going to do blah, blah, blah. So at first, the way that you would hurt someone the most with the racket is to turn it sideways and hit them over the head with the frame, which became known as the Mark shot, a.k.a. the Buzz Sawyer shot, right? And don't you hit me like a fucking Mark. Don't you hit me like a fucking Mark. So, but that would be the way that you would, damage somebody is turning, but that's also very hard to work, believably. And then there's the gut shot and, or the throat shot, right? Which I didn't try for a while till I got the hang of things. But anyway, so it was a work in progress, and a lot of first couple of times that we did a finish with it, the baby face would be rolling one of the midnight up, and the midnight would drop down flat, and the baby face's head would come through the ropes right on the O'Connor roll up. If the heel drops flat, the baby face falls forward through the ropes over the second rope, and I would whack the guy with the edge of it, but where the shaped part went around his neck, right? So it wasn't going to bust anything open. And that was all right. But then I got Magnum. We're getting heat on him, right? He's down. It's after the match. Two's been thrown out of the ring. Bells ringing. The people are screaming. And I'm going to take the stem of the racket, the handle, the stalk of it. And I've got it in my left hand where I've got my left hand even with the bottom of it. And I jump up in the air and drop to my knees, and I'm going to bring it down somewhere in the vicinity of his chest. You can see what I'm doing now. Straight down, right, like I've stuck him right down in the throat with the thing. But he's also green, and he won't admit this to this day, the old "you moved." But as the boys were kicking him and everything, he sat straight up, and I didn't know it was coming. And when he sat up, I was coming down, and I brought the end of that thing right down on the end of his chin, boom, and busted his chin open. His chin starts bleeding. He's like, shit. Okay, well, that looked good. But anyway, so he's reminded me about that a number of times. But then, God, finally, I'm trying to think who the first person. I hit somebody over the back, but I tried to work it. And then I realized, well, wait a minute. I don't need to work that because it's flat. It's like a chop. And then you also have to, sometimes I had to modify. If I had one of the fancy racket covers with a fancy outfit for a pay-per-view or whatever, the problem is the fancy racket covers weren't made out of that vinyl like the real ones were that makes the chopping sound on a sweaty back. So,
because it always made a great sound when you did it. Yeah.
But so basically just playing with it for the first month or so that we were down there, I think. And see, that's the thing. I wouldn't use it in every match because Watts did not want even the manager to interfere in every match or the gimmick to be used in every match, because then it didn't get as much heat. But then, of course, later on, as we evolved, people kind of, even when they didn't like us, they still expected to see one of those shots. It got over some, to the point where if they didn't see me use it, they were kind of like, fuck. More likely they wanted Ricky or Robert to shove it up my ass, but whatever. But anyway, so we played with it. And the first month or two that we were there in Mid-South, I hit more fans with it than I did the boys. And then, it became about even.
Was it just Tulsa and a couple other towns that you had a horseshoe or whatever it was in the racket, or was it every house show town?
No, it wasn't everyone, because at first, the first time that I had loaded it, we got in some kind of fucking hayrube in Tulsa, I think the first time. And I just, you know what, this was like, we'd only been there 6 weeks. And I remember that what I did was I went and the ideas that I got the dog chain, a dog choker chain, and duct taped that in without the cover on it around the edge of the racket. So it added weight, but it also added hardness to the edge of the racket, and slipped the cover on over it. And then also this lasted once. I actually got tin snips and cut, I guess that's what they're called, the things that cut to tin and aluminum or whatever, and cut the cookie sheets to shape the racket. So I had an actual metal plate on each side of the racket with the chain around the edge, and duct tape that. And you could bend a stop sign in half with a good swing on that thing, right? It was fucking stiff. That was for the rough towns for protection. But one night in Baton Rouge, this, like I said, this was real early on, and this is what made Bobby quit. Bobby used to say, here, I'll go in front, give me the racket. When we'd come back from the ring, you get behind me and Dennis is going to bring up the rear, right? So that way Bobby and the guy in front has the weapon in his hand. Well, that evolved quickly, because besides the fact that they realized, you know, they're taking more shots at me, so I need the fucking club, but also this guy came and fucking socked Bobby, and he turned around and the guy ran off into the crowd as we're coming back in the Centroplex. And Buddy Landell, who was riding with us at that time, used to watch our matches so that if we had any trouble, he'd come out and help. He sees the guy hit Bobby and runs and fucking, it was like he was running across a football field full of people, that a broken field tackled this fucking guy. And as he brought him up, he had his arms kind of like in a surfboard, and the guy was on his knees. And Dennis came right afterwards and football kicked the guy up under the jaw. And Bobby had the racket and hit him over the top of the head with it, with the cookie sheet and the chain duct taped around it under the cover, and bent the entire racket. It broke the frame, because that was a wooden one at that time. And that's when I switched to the metal ones later on. It cracked the frame, but it bent the cookie sheet. It looked like a fucking kitchen pot on top of the guy's head, right? It was in the shape of a head. And Bobby gave me the racket back. He said, I'm going to kill somebody. I don't want it anymore.
Dennis wouldn't have minded.
And well, yeah, did he? That's what he agreed that I should probably have it. So that's what happened there.
Whenever you bought a tennis racket, how often, because you had to go through a lot of them, how often did whoever it was in the sporting goods store try to talk to you about tennis? Did that happen?
Yeah, a couple of times, especially like in Charlotte at the mall. Oh, what? I'm just playing around. I just want to, because they'll try to upsell you, right? Well, that's the cheapest one. Yeah, I know.
I'll 10 of them.
Yeah,
Did you ever buy them in bulk?
No, well, because back then the house show rackets, once I had 4 or 5, if they bent, like if I hit Animal 3 or 4 nights in a row, it would be bent badly. But I just get either Hawk or Animal, here, bend this back for me. Look at what you've done. And they just, you know, and then I kept I still have the one that I used on TV that fit all the decorative covers that you've seen, all the, you know, the TBS clips and the Santa Claus tennis racket cover and all that stuff. That was the same racket, because it was a wood frame. I'd gotten it early on, had my first couple of fancy racket covers made for it, and I just, as a good luck charm, I would use that one for those fancy covers. But when I didn't have to really hit somebody or knock them out, usually, whatever. But no, and sometimes I'd send my wife to buy one or whatever. Because then, even though the mall in Charlotte was at the ritzy part of town, you know, I couldn't just walk around freely without getting recognized. I was Cornette buying the cheapest racket in fucking store. So
a mob of girls attacked a guy at Dick's Sporting Goods today for selling tennis rackets to Jim Cornette. They were chanting rock and roll, rock and roll.
Rock and roll, rock and roll.
All right,
Hey,
so...
did I tell you about this? Well, go ahead. Are we done on the racket?
No, well, I was just going to say you didn't answer. Who do you want to be the last person you hit with the racket?
Oh, but it can't be a shoot.
No, it has to be someone, because you said you want to work a show. It has to be in that context.
Whatever. Ricky Morton's son is wrestling now. I did once hit Paul Morton in an angle when we came back and worked Memphis with the Fabs. So that could be something, because even though I'm not mad at the young man, I could say that I've actually whacked 3 generations of the same family. That might be a record that would... When's the last time in professional wrestling that 3 generations of the same family have been hit over the head with a tennis racket?
I can't say that's ever happened before.
Well, there you go. I could go out once again with another record. Call Guinness.
But what about like going out with nuclear heat? Like that's the last time people see you do something and it's just crazy heat.
Well,
hit a cat.
No. Well, depends on what the cat was doing. There's some cats have a fucking obnoxious personality.
They're kind of condescending.
Like,
yeah, I know.
They can be condescending, but no. At this point, if anybody sees me live in person anywhere but an AEW show, they're just happy that I'm there and I'm still around. So I can't really get nuclear heat unless I was to go and make a tennis racket popsicle out of old Kenny Olivier. But that probably is highly unlikely. Not the fact that I wouldn't want to make the popsicle out of him, or probably could, but that it would have to occur on a sanctioned program of theirs. So I don't know where else I'd get nuclear heat. Besides maybe at just the local post office.
But when you throw someone like Ricky Morton's son out there into the mix, you're basically saying you would like it to be a younger person or someone contemporary who's of the modern day, as opposed to it being Ricky Morton, let's say.
Well, no, I just thought it would be funny to fuck with his whole family. I'd be happy hitting Ricky.
Why don't you do like the Inoki thing where you stand in the middle of the ring and you just have a line of people come in and you just slug everyone with the racket?
Yeah. Everybody walks in and turn your back. Pow! Nick, turn your back. Pow! Nick, turn your back. Pow!
Sponsored by Stephen P. New. We can make this work.
Yes.
All right, well, we're having fun now. What were you going to say before? You had a point.
I was going to tell you, I haven't talked to you, so Spectrum sent me a form tweet. They have form tweets, and they put little initials after them like that it's an actual person, but it's a form tweet. Have you seen these? Have you heard about this?
I happened to see your reply, so I did see their form tweet with the little initials. The person who copied and pasted it from whatever forum they had it on, yes.
Well, yeah, and what happened was, obviously, the Spectrum announcements on the podcast have been very popular, and the Spectrum announcements that we then put on the YouTube channel have been even more popular, where people all around the country, and I don't know about the world, I don't think these assholes are international, they probably can't find their way home, much less get to another country, but everybody's commiserating. Everybody's in agreement. I think it's the only thing I've ever said in my life where nobody disagrees. Everybody, Republican, Democrat, AEW fan, normal person, whatever the case, they're all saying, yeah, you may be an asshole, Cornette, but Spectrum fucking sucks. That's what they're all saying. We've read the comments, a special place in hell reserved for these people. One of them, one customer of Spectrum's crummy company with their internet and their cable and their telephone, said that they thought that Satan had just moved to the United States and changed his name. So they're not very popular. Yeah, and then it becomes Spectrum. They're not very popular with anybody that is forced to deal with them. But from hearing from so many of the listeners, the Cult of Cornette members about this, some of them also had tweeted me, well, look what this jolly joker from Spectrum tweeted me. basically, anytime that there's conversation on Twitter, I guess, especially if they're tagged in it, as the kids say, or even just if they search the shit, right? However you do that. And they find out if somebody mentions them, and if they do in a derogatory fashion, such as their service fucking sucks, then they will send a tweet, and they sent me when I commented on one of the fans commenting on our video, and I said, yeah, they still fucking suck. They sent me the same tweet that they'd sent this guy when he was telling me, yeah, look what they fucking did after they screwed up my shit, which is basically a alleged person who is a representative of the company is tweeting you, oh, I'm so sorry to hear. Sounds like a fucking Kenny Olivier phone sex promo. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you have experienced an unfortunate difficulty. And if you will DM me, Brian, you know me. If you will DM me, I have sent DMs on Twitter in the past because about 2 or 3 years ago, somehow I asked somebody, I might have been Stace, I can't remember, say, what is that fucking button there that says messages? Oh, you can get oh, you can? And I still to this day have never initiated one. If someone sends me one there and I happen to notice there's a number on it, that means there's one there you haven't looked at, and I click on it, I can answer them, but I couldn't initiate one on my own if my life depended on it. But I don't care, because I got other things to do, and I can send an email or make a phone call. There's too many ways people can contact you these days anyway. But this fucking reprobate from Satan, Spectrum, says DM me with your name and your service account number and your address and your social security number and all this information, and what seems to be the problem, and I'll see if I can assist you. So I wrote back and I said, hey, dipshit, the other people that work for your company that were standing here on the spot that he was speaking to on the phone couldn't figure it out, so I have no confidence you can either. But then one of the Cult of Cornette listeners brought this up. So you're a customer, and I've been a customer of this cable company, as I've mentioned, and of the ones that it has absorbed here. It just keeps changing the name. I still get the bill for almost 20 years. Never been late on the bill. They've got my address. They have my phone number. They carry my goddamn internet service, so maybe it shouldn't be too hard to find my email since it's on my goddamn website. Why aren't they calling me, getting a hold of me, offering to apologize to me, make it all right for me? What about me? They forgot me. They left me out. Fuck you. Spend more of my time, unknown tweet bot, to contact you people when I already have multiple times, and none of your people can fucking figure out how your shit works. And now I'm going to tweet you, and you, unnamed tweet bot with the Kenny Olivier phone sex voice, you're going to fix it right up. It's going to be good as new, slicker than cum on a gold tooth. I think not. Tweeting my ass. Form tweets.
I like how in your head it had Kenny Omega's voice.
Oh, that's exactly the way I read it, just to make myself even more angry and malcontented.
What were the initials?
I can't remember. I think it was something like JK, probably for just kidding. But anyway, I should mention, I teased it earlier, the long-awaited end of our long national nightmare is coming up. Folks, by the time you hear this, all of the domestic orders from the United States, that's why they're domestic, from the October Armageddon situation when the new website came up, are in the mail now, and the remainder of the internationals that have not been sent are almost packed up and will be going out every day over the next several, which is less than 100 of those left, because I should clarify, one person Said, why did you wait to send all the internationals till after all it? No, not all the internationals. Many people that just got a book or a DVD or one T-shirt or whatever, that's been gone out. But for the newer listeners, we've gone over this in the past. But while we desperately love you all, we love all of our international fans. With the customs forms and the fact that they have to be entered manually at the post office by the lovely Bree, 100 domestic packages can be shipped processed in the same amount of time as 20 internationals. It takes 5 times longer for each international package, plus another minute or two on my end each. And when you're dealing with a couple of hundred of international packages, do the math. So a bunch of them have gone out over this process, also mixed in with the domestics, and now the final less than 100, including Australia and New Zealand, that we've been holding back. I'm going to hold those again till the middle of next week, when I should be finished with these others, just to make sure they're accepting the Australia and New Zealand packages again, but just to make sure that they're not accepting them and then sending them back. We're waiting on testing other people before we do anything strange. So, but everything to everybody will be in the mail by the end of next week, and then I will be contacting some of the people that have emailed me saying, hey, the postman stomped on my box and etc., and trying to go through all of that stuff. But we've almost got this done, folks. It's been quite challenging this time. But think about it, the internationals only account for 10 to 15% of my overall orders. But what's 15% of 2,000? 300. Takes 3 minutes each at the post office to enter the customs form information in. Then that means 900 minutes alone at the post office of international packages. So it has to be spread out.
Well,
but this is your show.
Yeah, that's right.
But I should say, I should also mention, I should let the people know.
Please.
Because the people have been waiting to know. Cameo, the Christmas Cameo Chaos, this coming Sunday, December the 12th at noon Eastern. The Cornette cameos will go back on sale at cameo.com/Jim Cornette, or just go to jimcornette.com, click on the Cameo button, takes you right to the page. It's festive, it's Christmas, it's time for the airing of the grievances. If people have pissed you off and you want to let them know about it for Christmas, then I'm the guy to do it. As long as it's not illegal, I will be more than happy to say or relate anything that is necessary to the fine folks out there. So for your loved one or hated one, see, I work either way. If you don't like somebody or you do like them, I'm the perfect gift. My verbal skills will be on sale on Cameo. I'm putting my mouth on the market, Brian.
That poor market. All right, well, let's get moving with the show.
But now, jump in early. We're going to leave them up until we do sell all that we can fill that week. Hotchkiss has cleared his schedule, but there will be a limit. And usually,
what if Hotchkiss goes down again? What if he goes down again?
Well, hey, now, wait a minute. That's supposed to be personal between me and Hotchkiss. About him going deep. We told you.
Wasn't what I intended. You didn't tell me anything, and it wasn't what I intended. I have no idea why that's where your mind went. But what if the young man gets injured again?
Well, see, here's the thing. You say go down. I don't even know we let the people know that Hotchkiss also had a bad back. And he was sidelined for a week or two, but he was still able to function in his home. He just couldn't move around too much.
That's right. And of course,
but that's the bad back was just, the first website didn't work that well. And it's a 3-story drop from the office window at the castle. So it took him a couple of weeks to get his back in shape.
And of course, you felt awful about the injury to his back, and you told him all about Homedics, and he got very excited, and he said, can you hook me up with one? And you said, no, but here's the promo code. And of course, everyone can get the same deal that Hotchkiss can get right now.
Well, that's not really a selling point. Everybody gets the same deal. Hotchkiss, the people see Hotchkiss coming down the street. They sell him all kinds of shit. He bought shares in a buggy whip factory. But we can give people the straight scoop and a better deal than poor old Hotchkiss because we're in with the folks at Homedics. And I see what you're doing here. You're trying to get me to talk about the incredible Detroit family that founded Homedics to make people's lives better back in 1987. And since 1987, some 20 or 30 years later, now today, they're the established leader in wellness and home health innovations backed by traditional wisdom and modern technology. So when they say you just put this leech on and it'll drain the poison out of your system, that leech has been raised by the most awesome modern medical technology known to mankind and modern medical science. But we're here to talk about their massagers, aren't we? Not the leeches.
Not the leeches. No, they don't have leeches, but they have fine massagers.
They discontinued I'm sorry, I didn't mean to advertise. They've discontinued the leeches. Well, they were causing a problem. They were escaping. But anyway, the massagers from Homedics, if you've got a sore part of your body, they've got something that can vibrate it. Of course, some places on your body, you don't want to vibrate if they are sore, but you can speak to your doctor about that. However, body pain and soreness, your neck, your shoulders, your back, as we've talked about. Hotchkiss had a bad back. I've got a bad back. Everybody's got a bad back. Not to mention your feet that you stand on all day. And you walk around and you're out kicking dogs and looking for work, whatever you're doing, pounding the pavement. Well, folks at Homedics, they've got, what are you laughing about? People have to pound the pavement in today's environment.
There's a job short. People, they can't get enough people to work right now.
Well, I saw one guy the other day out on the street just jumping up and down, stomping the pavement. That's the kind of guy you need to give a job to.
He must have sore feet.
He's got sore feet. Well, I know how you can fix it. I was going there when you interrupted me. Because the folks at Homedics, as I mentioned, have massage technology that can make any part of your body feel better. They got a whole line of massage products, from a massage gun with built-in hot and cold technology. When's the last time that you had a massage gun with hot and cold running technology? They've got a massage cushion that I've got one here in the office. I can't turn it on now because it's too loud. It would interfere with our audio. And then also I would be talking like this because it's really powerful. But you can lie down on it on the floor. You can sit up on it. You can put it in your chair, depending on your therapeutic needs or whether blood rushes to your head easily or not. You need to get in a variety of positions in this thing, but you can do that. It plugs in, it heats up, it vibrates. It'll knock the teeth out of your mouth. I'm telling you, once you get off of this thing, you'll feel like you've been in a professional rodeo. And the foot massager, it looks like a spaceship. It's a round oval type of thing that you set down in front of you, and then you stick your feet in there and you turn it on, and they will knead them and warm them and make them feel good and hug and squeeze and call them George. And then there's a special code that only costs another $100 that you enter, and it then releases your feet and lets you walk again. And that's the best deal because everybody needs to walk. But I guess, did you get the code to release your feet?
My feet have been released.
Your feet have been released. See, mine, I couldn't figure out how to work it, and I had to hop around like I was ready to be thrown off a bridge by a gangster for 2 days until I got my feet out of that thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim, of course, is joking and having fun here, joshing, as some might say. We're talking about a fine product that will not capture your feet.
It won't?
Will massage your feet.
I just did it wrong?
Your feet feel good. Your feet are safe with Homedics.
Your feet are safe. They've got, moral of the story, Homedics has massagers that address your pain points from head to toe. And folks, this is not these low-class kind of personal massagers, but then you can rub yourself with these in front of the whole family. You don't need to be ashamed. You can do it in front of the neighbors. So, folks, whether you're dealing with chronic pain or just looking to help your muscles recover from a workout or just to be able to massage yourself in front of your neighbors, we've got good news. We've got good news. I'm sorry. Right now, if you go to Homedics, that's HOMEDICS.com, Homedics.com/Jim Cornette, and use the promo code Jim Cornette. What would Mama Cornette have thought? 60 years later, my little son is a promo code. But if you go to Homedics.com/Jim Cornette, use the promo code Jim Cornette, you'll receive a free portable phone sanitizer when you buy $100 or more in massage products, which is a $60 value. They don't even ask you what in a flying French fried titty fuck that you're doing to your phone that it needs to be sanitized on a regular basis. That's up to you. That's your personal life, and we're not going to mess with it. But you ought to get your shit straight. If you've got to literally desanitize your phone on a regular basis, you're obviously swimming in a septic tank of a slaughterhouse. Anyway.
For the record, everyone's phone is dirtier than they think. It has nothing to do with anyone's personal habits. It could get worse, but everyone's phone is completely filthy and filled with germs.
I don't know. Now, I don't consider myself everyone. My phone is occasionally there's.
Where's your phone? Where is your phone?
It's right here in my hand. There's some earwax in the little ear thing right here that I hold up to my ear. That's a matter of fact, that's a lot of earwax. Son of a gun. But the rest of it looks clean as a whistle. Except for, I guess, what is that green shit in those buttons? Anyway, Homedics.com/Jim Cornette. Apparently, we need a free portable phone sanitizer. Is this a gel that you rub on the phone or whatever? Well, we'll find out about that. But go to Homedics.com/Jim Cornette. Use promo code Jim Cornette. Get a free portable phone sanitizer when you buy $100 or more in massage products, which is a $60 value right there. You got that going for you. And save, I'm telling you, right now, a massage in any fine Asian establishment is at least $125 these days if you get your money's worth. So you can do this at home anytime and in front of the neighbors and the entire family. Just massage your entire family.
All right. We do support Homedics, a fine company, and I would hope that they could spend a few bucks and maybe hire Jim Duggan to be their spokesman. Seems like a perfect fit. Jim, let's get some questions here on the show.
It's your show. The last thing I want to do is try to steer this ship.
A popular topic the last few days has been about a story that was broken by Mike Johnson at PWInsiderElite.com. I'll read you the story. Jim, give me your thoughts. The headline: WWE star sent home from the road this weekend. WWE star Jeff Hardy was not at tonight's live event in Corpus Christi, Texas, at the American Bank Center, and word making the rounds at the event was that Hardy had been sent home from the road. For the record, this was dated December 5th, 11:03 p.m. at night, so a day and a half before we are recording right now.
Right.
Hardy teamed with Xavier Woods and Drew McIntyre against the Bloodline last night in Edinburgh, Texas, for the main event of that Super
Edinburgh?
Show. Edinburgh? I don't know the place.
Well, is it spelled the same way as the Edinburgh in Scotland?
Oh, I didn't even think of it that way. Edinburgh, Edinburgh, Texas. Because when I think about Scottish towns, I think of Texas.
Well, when you think of the Garden of Eden, you think of Texas?
A good point. Hardy spent most of the match inside the ring being worked over by Roman Reigns and the Usos, and apparently becoming more sluggish as the match continues. Once he made a hot tag to McIntyre, Hardy disappears into the crowd, followed by security, and didn't return to the ring for the post-match celebration with his partners. Hardy was replaced in Corpus Christi tonight by Rey Mysterio. He was not backstage at the event. Hardy last wrestled on SmackDown TV on November 26th, teaming with Drew McIntyre to defeat Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. PWInsider.com has reached out to WWE for comment, and will update this story if we hear back. So again, we don't know a terrible amount, but we do know that Jeff Hardy has reportedly been sent home, Jim.
Well, thanks for leading with this one. Because I don't want to hop on kick a downed horse or whatever you've got me so frazzled I can't form a cogent simile. But obviously this cannot be a positive thing. You have to look at what they're not saying. If he got his bell rung and was injured and was confused and just left the match to, as soon as he tagged out to go get medical attention, then he wouldn't have wandered off through the crowd as what was reported was the case, right? Or gone out into the crowd. If he'd had some kind of injury and been sent home because of that, they would have said that. I don't know if he was... The thing that everybody's trying not to say is, well, is Jeff off the wagon? But what else would be the cause of him being not all the quote was that he didn't have he had a bad night, was a quote from somebody that I saw, and that he was sent home and replaced for the rest of the tour. What else is it going to be that they won't say? If he was injured, they'd say it. If he was sick, they would say it. They wouldn't say it if it was COVID, but if it was COVID, he wouldn't have had the issue the previous night. I hope he's okay. I thought in large part that stuff was behind him. He's obviously had a couple of high-profile incidents, the match with Sting and TNA, etc., where shit was not right. I just, I hate that because we said on the pay-per-view, it's already, to me, it just looks like that when he goes out there, he knows he has to do the trademark shit, and it looks like it's beating him the fuck up to do it. And I'm afraid that, and I don't know his personal situation, and I'm not trying to speculate, but I'm afraid that now at this stage of his life, is it more that he may be medicating some of his chronic injuries than just trying to go out and be a party guy? That I don't know, but
we don't know. But if it is any of the things that people are suspecting, doesn't it make it really all that more tasteless, the stuff WWE was doing? What was it, earlier this year, last year, where he had fallen off the wagon and they made it again? He hadn't really done it. They just made it as part of the SmackDown show that Jeff Hardy was having issues.
Well, and that's always that is fucking rotten. Whether it's Jeff or whether it was Shitstain did it with Hawk 20 years ago or whatever the case. Or that was part of, Heyman bringing Sonny on ECW television to talk about her issues. You bring real life into wrestling in a positive way, and with that people know things are true so that you can wind it into the story you're telling. But I've never seen an upside in any way, shape, or form in any of the times that anybody has worked having a substance abuse problem or shot on having a substance abuse problem or working referring to a shoot substance abuse problem, any of it. No, it's not good. And I don't know why they keep doing it. And especially for for the talent, it has to be embarrassing. But also, it doesn't make the company, the talent, the TV show, anybody look any good, in my opinion, to do that and to play on those things. It's cheap TMZ bullshit for the, warped people that sit and watch TMZ bullshit. what such and such star said at the airport and what such and such star did at this party and so was drunk and flashed her pussy and bleh. Watch a documentary every once in a while, you fucking ignorant pricks.
Yeah, about the 86 Mets.
Yeah!
You got to watch that.
So what? Well, I'm about to have free time over the holidays now that the orders are almost out.
All right, you would like it. You would like the characters. It would remind you of wrestling, I think.
Only a question about Jeff Hardy can get us to the 86 Mets documentary.
Anything could get us to the 86 Mets documentary, Once Upon a Time in Queens. Anything could get us to the 86 Mets, period. But let's get to another question here on the show, Jim. This next one, and I'm going to tell you, we got a ton of questions all of a sudden about Vince McMahon the last several weeks. So let's read a few of them. This one was sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Clint in Campbell River, British Columbia, Canada. I love the shows and listen every week. Keep up the great work. You're sitting in Castle Cornette one day, and the phone rings.
Oh boy, a lot of problems start with that.
The caller ID says Vince McMahon. You answer, and Vince says, Jim, my product has been in the shitter for a long time now. Can you give me 5 things which will improve my ratings, popularity, and overall quality? Sounds like a Vince sentence if I've ever heard one.
Yes.
What would you suggest?
I'd suggest, what's the questioner's name?
Clint in Campbell River, British Columbia, Canada.
Clint, I suggest the same thing that I would suggest to Vince, to you. Send me $100,000 in small unmarked bills and I'll do the work to come up with the answer to that question. But right off the top of my head, we talk about it. There's no quantifiable 5 things or whatever, but we talk about it every week. Not only does nobody believe this shit anymore, they don't believe the people involved in this shit, and the program that they're putting on in the WWE with the people that nobody believes in or cares about is also boring. And it's fucking homogenized and pasteurized and cleaned up and scrubbed up, and everybody, all the talent for the most part, except the few that stand out, try to work the same way and talk the same way because they're written for the same way and they're trained the same way. And the creative sucks because it's not anything anybody gives a shit about. It's these hokey fucking entertainment stories. If all you need to give wrestlers is a believable reason to be mad at each other. You don't need to have 16 writers concocting a goddamn full-length feature motion picture backstory. Just make it something that people can get into and then let them go out and say some shit and do some shit on their own. Like we used to, Vince. You know, but the advice that I would give him to make a better wrestling product would probably be the antithesis of what the homogenized, pasteurized entity in corporate America that is going to purchase this thing and turn it into a goddamn Cirque du Soleil theme park would want to begin with. They don't care about what wrestling fans want to see. And they somewhat consider themselves the only game in town, which they used to be and kind of still are on a worldwide basis. And they're not going to change it, because to change it would be to offend some sponsors because something was real enough that somebody got a little upset or somebody said something they shouldn't say. It would be to fire 3/4 of the creative team and just let the boys find some guys that can do their own shit and then let them do it. They don't want to do any of that stuff that would make the product easier for wrestling fans to watch. They have, I guess, cornered the market on the amount of people that are going to watch boring sports entertainment, and they're serving those people well, and they're getting big contracts from the networks without doing a good show that needs to sell any tickets or draw any massive ratings. So why the fuck would he listen? Plus, how long do you think that Vince is going to be. I don't know why he would be looking any far. How old is he now? Is he 77?
I'll check the exact age.
Why is he looking farther than 3 years down the road? He knows he's going to sell it by then. He probably wants to put his last imprint on the thing by fucking up NXT and training the next year or two's worth of guys to all be 90s cartoon WWF Saturday morning syndication bullshit gimmicks.
76.
Okay, so he's got maybe 4 years before he's 80. And then he's communicating through a tube that's stuck through his left nostril. And he has to blow out boogers with messages for the fucking staff.
This has been Jim Cornette's advice for Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I don't know what the... That's what I'm saying. A long time before I am 76 years old, you will not be seeing or hearing from my fucking formerly fat white ass anymore.
Here would be my advice. Find some new friends. Also, go out and meet somebody and do something. Do something away from all this. Go to a movie. Do something else. Those are my pieces of advice.
I can't see Vince McMahon getting in his car and driving down the road to a movie theater and going up and buying a ticket and just walking in and seeing a movie. I'm trying to imagine that, and I can see in my mind's eye more clearly and believably the Venusians landing and forcing all of us to give them their rim jobs than see Vince McMahon just go to a movie one afternoon. You know those Venusians are big on the rim jobs.
You said their rim jobs like it's...
Yeah, well, they're
known
to them. That's their thing. You know them Venusians and their rim jobs, I'll tell you what. Nothing better.
Getting from Jeff Hardy, the 86 Mets, is no longer the wildest transition mid-subject here on the show. Getting from Vince McMahon to Venusian rim jobs definitely wins now. This has been advice for Vince McMahon.
Yes, I don't know what to tell him. I don't know what to tell him anymore. The whole thing's shot anyway. The whole thing, we can't get the wrestling back. It's just a varying degree of how offensive is the sports entertainment going to be.
Well, as I said, Vince has been a very popular topic. Here's another one that was sent in. This was sent on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru from Ira Gentry. Has Jim ever seen Vince do anything like this? And it has a quote from a Freddie Prinze Jr. interview. Now, Freddie Prinze Jr.
I thought there was going to be a picture that I was going to have to refer to, or like this. Go ahead.
Freddie Prinze Jr., the son of the Chico and the Man star, Freddie Prinze.
He was on the writing team for a while, incredibly enough. Yes. Right. Which shows that apparently his father's legacy did not translate to a big career in Hollywood for poor Freddie, and as a result, he was on the WWF writing team.
Well, he's been doing interviews and talking about various things, or at least he's done this one interview, and there have been various quotes. I'm really not sure, but I've seen several stories, and this one has stuck out, and obviously people have sent it in, like Ira Gentry right here on Twitter. Here's the quote. Freddie Prinze Jr. says, Vince once told Sheamus and Wade Barrett to act like dogs during a promo class. The quote, Wade takes the first step. He growls. And as soon as he growls, Vince gets up and yells, not an actual fucking dog, son of a bitch! And he storms out of the room. He came back and said, let's try again. Sheamus is going to be the babyface dog. And he starts talking. He said, I'm a good old dog. I'm loyal. And Vince said, just forget the whole damn thing, and storms off. Promo class is canceled. Any thoughts on this? Have you ever seen this this dog lesson?
I don't know what to... I can liken it to something that I've seen before in that it's... This is so hard to explain because it's fucking crazy. But it's the environment that they have had at various points, whether they would get announcers, like let's say they were auditioning an announcer, and not just a play-by-play guy, but somebody to do what they used to call it, the slam jam inserts, the stand-ups where when they would give the local cards when they still did such a thing. The event centers, pre-tape a show host, the Todd Pettingill kind of role for people from the 90s, and they did this to Heyman. Remember, we've talked about he had the ponytail and they made him do something where he was pulling his ponytail and crowing or hooting or something. I don't know whether Vince got it from Kevin Dunn or Kevin Dunn got it from Vince. I've seen both of them do it.
But that means they got it from someone else. They probably got it from Dick Ebersol or something.
Okay, well, as somebody in real television and real entertainment, this is some fucking hokey bullshit that they do in acting class or whatever. But when they would audition the announcer, or they would audition a wrestler and have him, cutting a promo, they would come up with some off-the-wall bullshit instead of you just doing your shit that you do. Or instead of the announcer just saying, "Hi, I'm Jim Cornette, and I've been a professional wrestling announcer for so-and-so long, and I can do this, and I can call that," or whatever. They would hand you like a goddamn lamp and say, "Sell me this lamp." And then I guess it's one of these workshop exercises where you're then exposed to extol the virtues of this lamp and tell everybody how great the lamp is and that they should either buy the lamp or they should own one of these lamps or go into the lamp's backstory and make some shit up to apparently see if you're glib or articulate or whatever, or how you look on camera, especially in an awkward situation, which I always thought was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. But so maybe Vince decided one day, as Vince is wont to do, that he heard lackluster promos, and those aren't hard to find. And he decided, I'm going to get these guys in here. And then he'll give directions where to be dogs. Well, of course they come up. Arf, arf. Maybe to be dogs, he meant that they were supposed to have animosity, or they were supposed to be vicious, or they were something in his mind that the instruction he gave translated to a normal, sane person exactly what they should do, and they didn't have any fucking idea. Does that make any sense to you, just from the way I've described this?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Growling dogs, just growling dogs. And then they growl like dogs, and fire!
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. You don't know what the fuck these people are talking about. It's fucking stupid. And that's why, fortunately, I did not ever have to I did an audition for the Slam Jams one time. I didn't have to sell them a fucking lamp or a tube of toothpaste or whatever. But remember, I told this story a while back. I filled in for Michael Hayes when he was Doc Hendricks. And the worst part of it was walking down the goddamn stairs on the set while you're talking and trying to watch the goddamn look at the camera while you're walking down these stairs. I'm like, why do I have to walk down the fucking stairs? Are we going to sell any more tickets to this fucking live event because I'm walking down the stairs while I'm telling them what they're going to see, or if I was just standing at the bottom like a normal motherfucker? So I didn't do any more fucking live events, but I never had to sell a tube of toothpaste. But that's what they'll do. And with wrestling, a wrestling manager, which is, I don't know when they first brought Heyman up there, whether they were trying him out to manage or to be an announcer because he had done color in WCW. But, you're a wrestling manager, so sell me a fucking brick. Fuck you. More of their entertainment style shit that they get into up there.
Well, speaking of which, here's another Vince question, Jim. This one was sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Charlie in Starkville, Mississippi.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on.
Excuse me.
The official air raid warning. How long has it been? We made it all of last week. I'm wondering if it was a 2-week run without Charlie from Starkville. And I understand his brother's on the FBI's most wanted list.
Well, here's his question. Hi, Jim. Dustin Rhodes recently said Vince McMahon didn't think much of a potential Cody versus Dustin match at WrestleMania. Dustin said, quote, Vince would always tell me, this match is not good enough for WrestleMania.
Oh, God.
That pissed me off. That pissed me off bad.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Vince thinking Cody versus Dustin wasn't good enough for WrestleMania?
Well, especially after we saw it, and it ended up being probably the best classic professional wrestling match that's yet been presented in AEW. Vince was wrong. If I can see him saying it, I would have, if I was Vince, I just shuddered as I thought that. He could have been a little nicer. He could have said, Dustin, it's so hard to pull off brother versus brother. I don't know that people would believe it. And then not only that, but how do you come back from it? You know, just told Dustin he didn't want to do brother versus brother. To say the match would not be good enough for WrestleMania, especially considering some of the matches that we've seen on WrestleMania. I know this had to be 7-8 years ago probably that he said that, or somewhere in that time frame, but still, Dustin and Cody on was that the first AEW pay-per-view, or was that the little crowdfunding thing that they did that started the ball rolling?
No, because that one was Cody with the NWA title. I think this was the second one. This was the first all out, double or nothing, I think.
Whatever it was. Yes, they've had more dramatic athletic matches, and yes, they've had a different variety now, but still, for classic old-fashioned professional wrestling, that's the best match that AEW has presented. So it was way better than a lot of matches that have been at WrestleMania. Now, would it have drawn in that environment, and would they have had the freedom to have that match? Probably not. So it was better they did it where they did it, especially if Vince didn't believe in it. But that was a kind of a prickish thing to say.
There were a couple of points I felt that the fans were ready for it, whether it was Cody versus Goldust or Stardust versus Goldust. They were ready for it. And I think the highlights of Cody's career in WWE, that brief period of time they let him have Dusty, and Dusty was great, and then he went off script against Stephanie, and they never let Dusty say another word on TV ever again. But that was the first time Cody was really interesting. And then they had been kind of teasing Cody versus Dustin and never did anything with it. And like you said, I'm not the biggest Cody fan. I certainly wasn't a big Stardust fan, but it would have been a lot more interesting than some of the other crap they have on there. And it ended up being a great match for AEW.
Well, and I guess actually since they gave it the attention they gave it, it wouldn't even have been that it wouldn't have drawn in that environment. They wouldn't have been able to have as good a match as they had in that environment because they wouldn't have been allowed to.
Are you surprised that Vince, if we are to believe this quote, that Vince was so blunt with Dustin?
No. Vince can blurt out some bluntness. Sometimes when you don't expect it to be coming, if he's just in the right mood, and he may have gotten up on the wrong side of the garage door opener that morning or something.
Well, you know, Jim, some might say that perhaps Jim needs help with a transition. Some might say, Jim, that perhaps...
I'll go ahead and say it, Jim. See, I just said it.
Jim, some might say, I would suspect, if we could ever get through this, there are some that might say Vince McMahon could use a good night's sleep.
You know, a lot of people would say that because he hasn't slept since 1984. His sleep is the enemy, according to Vince McMahon. Well, I got news for you, Vince. Sleep is my friend. And as a matter of fact, folks out there, if you'd like to have sleep become a beloved member of your family that lives in a house with you and you see it every night, then all you got to do is have a Helix Sleep mattress, because with the Helix mattress, sleep will be your friend, sleep will be your partner, sleep will be your protector, sleep will be the only family you need. As a matter of fact, if you've got some obnoxious person that you don't particularly want to be laying down next to, sleeping on the Helix Sleep mattress, kick them out of the bed in the cold floor and snuggle up on your own, because you don't need anybody else. You don't need to go to a mattress store again. You don't need to have people come over and move your mattress. You don't even need to get any other mattresses, because with the Helix Sleep, it'll be the last one you ever need. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why would you buy a mattress made for someone else? Why would you sleep on a mattress that someone else has slept on? I know people that buy used mattresses. Well, no, this is brand new stuff, state of the art. With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you know will be perfect for the way that you sleep. And there's very few people have slept on these things beforehand. Occasionally, somebody in the factory might take a nap just to test things out. And if the truck is unguarded,
that's not how it happens.
Somebody may crawl in the back of the truck and lay down on the box. But see, the thing is boxed up, so they can't even get on that mattress.
You will be the first person to sleep on your own Helix Sleep mattress. The mattress you ordered, you will be the first human being to touch it or sleep on it.
Well, someone might have not slept on it, but sat on it or propped their feet up on it, right? No? That's right, because it comes in the box, so it's all clean and hermetically wrapped. Well, that's even better. Last time I got a mattress from the mattress store, nobody had slept on it, but 4 different couples had tested it out by having sex on it, and they left some droppings.
What?
But anyway, that was from the mattress store. But, see, it was dark, and they had the shades closed. The mattress store was still open, but they thought they could get away with it. I don't know those people. I just heard. But anyway, with the Helix Sleep mattress, folks, take the quiz. You get the body type and the sleep preferences matched up with the mattresses. They've got soft, medium, firm. They've got cool-down mattresses if you sleep hot. If you sleep hot and you're a female, send me and Brian your numbers. We'll take care of you personally. Hey. But anyway, they've even got a Helix Plus mattress for plus-sized sleepers. And for heaven's sake, I used to sleep in a plus-size sleeper. Those little sleepers with the footies in them that your mom would get you when you were a kid. I was a plus-size kid. Anyway, you're going to love these mattresses, and they come delivered to your home in a box that one person can move and put in the place that they want, and then you just unwrap it and let the mattress come to life. Not in a violent way. It won't knock you over. I know you were going to bring that up, Brian. No, the mattress will not hurt you when it is unboxed. It will gently come into bloom, to full bloom. But anyway, they were awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. I didn't know that the mattresses were wired. Now do they have a mattress that's wired? You've got an electric plug that you can plug your electric in?
Well, no, I think Wired magazine just covers the latest big items, the best items of the year.
Ah, well, there you go. Well, they're wired up and ready to go. Helix has been recommended by multiple leading chiropractors or chiropractors. See, it's spelled in a very misleading form. Doctors of sleep medicine. I didn't even know that they had those, but leading doctors of sleep medicine consider the Helix Sleep mattress a go-to solution for improving sleep, as well as the leading chiropractors. Go to helixsleep.com/JCE, take the quiz, get a mattress, get the best sleep of your life, 10-year warranty. You can try it out for 100 nights, risk-free. There's absolutely no risk to trying out a Helix mattress for 100 nights, except if you sleepwalk and you trip and fall, or you roll out of bed and you bust your face, but that's not their fault. And they'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it. And they will not resell it to another person. They pick it up and they donate it to children or dogs and animals.
We can't say that. Well, we can say it's a fine mattress that you should check out and support, and it's clean and it's safe and no one will be knocked over and there aren't any germs.
That's exactly correct. And if you go to Helix Sleep, that's HELIX, helixsleep.com/JCE, and take the 2-minute sleep quiz, get the mattress, get it delivered. They're offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. If you go to helixsleep.com and use the /JCE, 12,000 5-star reviews, over 1 billion hours slept on Helix mattresses. Boy, that guy must have taken a lot of Xanax. They're right for you, folks. They're just exactly right for you. Need to just lay down in it like a warm puppy's belly and just luxuriate.
Well, Jim, transitioning far away from that, are you ready for more questions?
No.
Let's have fun. Are you ready to have fun?
No.
What do you mean, no? Come on.
Well, what? See, you asked me a question, and then I give you an answer you're not expecting, and then you shouldn't ask me the question. Don't ask the question if you don't want the answer.
I'm trying to lift you with our fun spirit here this week on the show.
Lift me? Well, don't get a hernia there, cowboy. Just drag me along by the heel.
All right, well, let's see what the heel thinks of this next question. This is actually one that many people have sent in. I don't know if we have a good article, because several people sent in some bullshit website that said nothing. But the story's real and it's out there. Jim, your thoughts on WWE in 2022. They're going to cease production on DVDs and Blu-rays in the United States.
Well,
and Canada.
I can believe that because they figure, all right, a lot of those guys, the last bit of royalties they get is off DVD sales. So let's figure out a way to fuck them. The joke writes itself. Did anybody want to see the show the first time, much less see the DVD release when it comes out over the past few years? But I get, DVD sales are not what they once were, obviously, because now not only are the shows something that you want to keep on your shelf in a position of honor and go back and watch regularly, like the idea of DVDs or any kind of home video was to begin with, you can just fucking watch it on YouTube or on the cock or on whatever. It'll be altered, or you might not be able to find it. Or you might not have all the entire show or the compilation of matches or whatever was on the DVD that you would want. But they don't care about that. They got bigger fish to fry there last. So I saw then someone put out that they may do some big show releases or whatever going forward, but it's looking like it's heading that way.
Yeah, if they get a deal with a major chain like Walmart or Target or Best Buy where they say we'll carry it exclusively, then they'll make something up. But otherwise, this is it, probably.
Yeah. And I mean, in all honesty, like I said, the biggest thing is nothing that they've done over the last few years is worth having on your shelf to go back and revisit over and over. And I was never a fan of big show DVDs as much as compilations like the multi-disc sets they would do on major stars, whether it was Undertaker or they did a heck of a set on Lawler or, the individual stars. I liked those. And that was cool to have, 6 hours of one guy's greatest or the greatest that they can compile that's in their library. That was nice, but we don't get nice things anymore.
The royalty issue now becomes even bigger. Not that anyone was getting rich off the royalties of DVDs and Blu-rays currently.
Hey, I'll have you know that every 3 months, I was still getting a check for like $86.14 that now will go away. What is a boy to do?
Now you get no royalties.
Now I'm getting nothing.
How does that work?
Nada, zip, zero, zilch, goose egg.
All right, well, we'll talk Stephen P. New later in the show. But I'll be just fine. However, that's the thing that they were going to, when the network launched, was that 2014? I think we were in New Orleans at WrestleMania, right? I wasn't at WrestleMania. I was in New Orleans WrestleMania weekend for the Mid-South Wrestling reunion, but that was 8 years ago almost. The network launched, and they had announced they were going to have a meeting with the talent on how that royalties would be handled going forward as pertained to the network. You remember that? I wasn't there, but I remember hearing about that.
You remember that it was a thing that was scheduled to take place.
Correct, yes.
And then it was canceled and was going to be rescheduled. And I guess April will be 8 years, and they ain't figured out a way to work that son of a bitch on the schedule yet. They don't give royalties for the network. They get all the money. First, they got the money from the subscribers of the network. Then they got the money from the cock. But it's not the getting of the money. It's the distributing of the money. And that's what they have yet to do for anybody off of the network. So all that stuff that you see, nobody's getting paid on that. They get the video game. What is there now to get royalties on? Besides, they got video game royalties.
T-shirts.
Right? There's T-shirts and paraphernalia that is sold with your name on it, but there's going to be no video royalties, right? If they don't do DVDs, if they don't sell things, if it's all on the cock or if it's all streaming.
Right. No, if it's anything like an action figure or a T-shirt, anything that uses your image in that way, the company's nice enough to share some of that money with you. But if it's something that actually shows your visual performance,
if it's actually you performing,
you're entitled to nothing.
You're like, Bob Denver on Gilligan's Island. Thank you, Stephen P. New, for that outstanding book.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen P. New. Let me say this publicly. He just sent me a whole bunch of books. I was like, what are all these books? They're all from West Virginia. Now I get it. And
kettle corn. We got kettle corn here also.
What? He didn't send me kettle corn. What?
Well,
the fuck?
He likes me better. Anyway, Bob Denver got like residuals for two cycles of reruns on Gilligan's Island, and then nothing ever again. All the people on that's the way they were doing the actors in Hollywood in the 50s and 60s, and that's all been fixed up. But since wrestling is neither fish nor fowl, sometimes it's foul and sometimes it's fishy, but it doesn't fit in any compartment. So the guys can't or won't or are not offered the ability to join the Screen Actors Guild, but they have no union of their own. And so all this stuff can just be shown in perpetuity. And what are you going to do about it, fella? That's the legal defense. What are you going to do about it, fella, from the WWE?
Yeah, no, they have not. I don't think have they fought it yet? I mean, they've had the case thrown out on, the person signed away their rights to fight this, or the time limit ran out, or the lawyer's a fucking nutbag, whatever their arguments have been about several of the recent things. Have they ever actually had to defend in court not paying any royalties to wrestlers who are appearing on a network that they're charging a subscription fee for, which they were before Peacock?
No, they have not, is the brief answer to that question.
All right. Well, that's a wonderful thing for the next company to know that they're buying when they buy WWE. They're buying.
Yeah. Hey, that's the thing. And you can buy this company and you don't have to pay piss to any of these wrestlers that have broken their backs and their heads and their whatever. And you can just show this shit until the end of time.
Let's get our next question here. Jim, this one was sent on Twitter using a hashtag CornyDriveThru from Grant Cameron.
Grant Cameron over down under. Roger, Captain Over.
Greg Cameron sent in on Twitter an article, but here's the question. What are Jim Cornette's thoughts on Elias's reported reboot plans being nixed because he looked too much like Randy Savage? Also, is there any heat between Vince and Lanny Poffo? Let me click this link from the reputable source WrestlingNews.co. Actually, they're just retweeting someone else named WrestleVotes on Twitter, who apparently has some scoops.
Who heard from a secondhand source in a third-hand clothing store.
Let WrestleVotes know, quick. Interesting note on Elias. Source states that they had no end plan for graveyard vignettes. Just shot them to kill off the music gimmick. His initial rebranding week...
Is this English? Is this real life? I don't understand what's being said here.
His initial rebranding weeks back looked too similar, well, again, the spelling is bad, to Randy Savage with colorful trunks and beards, so Vince and company didn't like it. Back to square one. Any thoughts on whatever this is?
Okay, well, I mean, here's part of the problem. Part of the problem is we have avoided Elias like the crotch rot plague for quite some time. If they were going to reboot him or repackage him or in any way change what he had been doing before, I'm all in favor of that. Because what he was doing before was fucking rotten. Fucking rotten. But I haven't seen what it was, so I don't know how close it really was to Randy Savage or whether Vince just got a wild hair up his ass and said, it looks like Randy Savage. Or wait a minute, you do it, Brian, in the Vince voice. He looks like Randy Savage.
Which Vince? Young Vince? Medium?
Old Vince.
Okay,
current Vince.
I could do different eras of Vince at different points.
Do the current Vince talking about.
Macho egg. He looks too much like Macho egg.
Well, that was over easy.
Turkey.
All right. Turkey. Anyway, Elias, what else is he getting? Why, if they didn't like what he was doing, why did they make him do it all this time? Because it was stupid. You get a guy that can play a guitar. I can't play the guitar, so that is a talent. But I don't know why it has to be the thing that you hang your hat on this fucking guy. And the majority of times that we saw him, he was either playing the guitar and threatening to wrestle, or pretty much that's it.
His days were numbered once they found another guitar player to put on TV.
Well, yeah, and then they get another. So they got two, maybe they ought to have the Outlaws, the Guitar Army, just team them all up together. But no, if they were going to change Elias's gimmick, I'm in favor of that. Apparently they didn't like the change either. If I was him, I'd be, boy, today would be a great time to have a Code Academy spot. I'd be looking for a new career.
All right. Well, our next question is one that was sent in by several people today as we are recording on December 7th.
So what are they banding together now, trying to spam us?
Well, no, if anything happens in wrestling, a bunch of people will just immediately start sending it. I don't know if you've heard, but Hulk Hogan did this. Yeah, we've heard. Jim, we have another question here, a popular topic, sent in many times to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com. I have an article here from PW Insider Elite by Mike Johnson, AEW to debut in Atlantic City. They will be at Boardwalk Hall, which is the site of WrestleMania 4 and 5 when they pretended that Trump owned Boardwalk Hall. He didn't. And it'll be a live Dynamite and Rampage taping Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. Any thoughts on AEW going to Atlantic City, one of the true dumps of all time?
I was about to say.
What an awful place.
Atlantic City is the kind of place when they have the hurricane come in, it does several $1 million worth of improvements, right? I don't know why that my opinion is being asked of AEW debuting in Atlantic City and nobody conferred with me on Des Moines or Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah, Atlantic City is a fucking dump, but they have buildings there that, what was the old building called? Oh my God. I worked there for the I worked there for the WWF in 1998. Dennis Coralluzzo came down and we all went to a wonderful Italian restaurant after I got out of that shitty show. Was it the Atlantic City Convention Center, Convention Hall? A big, huge, like an airplane hangar of a building.
Yeah, that's where this is going to be.
Is that the same thing?
I believe so.
My God, that place looked like it could have fallen down 25 years ago. It's not connected to a casino. It's a giant. Did somebody say that this is the place that they used to have the old Miss America pageants, the Burt Parks thing? Here she is, Miss America.
Probably. That's probably where they had it, because it's right. I mean, it's from Atlantic City, and where else would it be?
Okay, you can get 10,000 people in this thing. It's it's not an arena per se, but a giant, old-fashioned, 30s or 40s convention hall. It's just like you could fly a 747 in this fucking thing. Just a huge building. That's going to be this was a house show I was at for the WWF. It's going to be a challenge to make this place look presentable for television if it's the same one I'm thinking of. Maybe some of the people that live in that part of New Jersey The ones with the ankle bracelets and everything, they can verify whether I'm thinking of the right place or not. Well, that's fine. I don't really care whether they go to Atlantic City or not. I hope that they restrain themselves from potentially, losing a fortune at the rigged casino tables. But otherwise than that, they're on their own on this one.
Have you ever gambled in a casino?
Yes, I have. Not in Atlantic City, I haven't, but I've been to Las Vegas a bunch. I always, from the first trip that I made to Las Vegas, liked the video poker machines. So I would go and get $40 or $50 in quarters, and I would play it like a video game. And, where I didn't care if I lost the money, but then every once in a while you'll win and you'll come back up even and you'll get your 40 or 50 bucks worth of quarters and then you can play more. That's I've never actually played a gambling game because I don't know how to play them. And I'm certainly not going to play against the goddamn expert. Yeah. If I was going to gamble and play cards or play some kind of gambling game, I would go find some fucking schlub coming out of church on Sunday afternoon that had never gambled in his life and said, hey, let's play this game. Then I might have a chance.
Okay, well.
I don't like to lose money.
That's my philosophy. Why play with money? That's why I would never gamble.
I sat there. Our first trip to Las Vegas was for the NWA convention in 1986. And my significant other at the time and I are on our way to go see the dam, right? We're going out to the damn dam.
The
Make
Damned.
a day trip of it. The dam.
Captain Sensible, Dave Vanian, Rat Scabies.
What?
The band, The Damned?
No, the dam. The Hoover Dam.
Oh, the Hoover Dam.
The dam. Oh, my God.
New
the
Rose?
Dam, they got a big dam out there. You may have been in all the papers. Anyway, we're walking through the casino. We're going to see the dam, take some pictures. I still have the pictures I took of the dam. It's the damnedest dam you ever saw. And I stopped because I see J.J. Dillon, and we're idly chatting for a second, and they were either tokens or silver dollars, one or the other, but it's $1 a pop to put in a slot machine. And while he's just idly feeding some in and pulling the thing while we're standing there talking. And I wasn't there 3 or 4 minutes. And then we go on and he must have put $10 in that slot machine and just pulled the lever one time and never nothing came out of it. At least the video poker machine for $0.25. You press it once, you see what kind of hands you get. You keep what you like. Then you spin it again. There's some interactivity. It's fun. And it doesn't cost that much. The most I've ever wagered on anything besides you, we just made a bet. You're going to try to forget about it. We just made a bet, $500. I said that
to charity.
Well, whatever. Charity begins at home. That Braun Breaker will be one of the WWE champions in 30 months. But otherwise, the most I ever bet was $50 with Ric Flair in 1986 when Louisville was playing North Carolina in the NCAA tournament, and I won.
Was that just you betting on your hometown team, or did you think, this is the year?
No,
I think we got
Flair. That was Flair crowing about his precious North Carolina, what they were going to do, and I said, well, no, I don't think they're going to do it there, Nate. And he said, oh, they are, and I said, no, they're not there, Beak. And then he said, I'll bet you. So I was shooting. I think he mentioned something like $500 at first. I said, are you completely out of your mind? I said, I'm making 50. Okay. And he paid me off in cash in an envelope.
Okay. Like a high-end escort. 50 in an envelope. Well, what?
No, you don't put it in an envelope. You leave it on the dresser.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's because you're cheap. You don't go to the high end. You get the discount stuff going on.
I do not pay for nothing. Let's move on this show.
Well, that's what all your creditors say.
All right.
Say, every time you walk in a place, I've been with you in New York, you walk in a place and everybody says, your money is no good here. It's because they got your picture stuck up on the wall saying his money is no good. It's counterfeit.
I got it from Blackjack Mulligan.
Well, you shouldn't bring up how you treat high-end escorts if you don't want the proper terminology. Anyway.
All right. Well, let's escort the listeners to our next question. This one was sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Gabe in New York. This is another popular topic, Jim. I've been a long-time listener of the podcast, and you both always do a fantastic job. I wanted to know Jim's thoughts on WWE seemingly shelving the Vladimir the Superfan documentary, as well as if he had any stories on Vladimir and other superfans in wrestling history.
Well, we mentioned this on a show here recently, talking about the documentaries, and the Vladimir one was so well thought of. They didn't release it, but they aired it at a film festival, and everybody went crazy over it. And I guess Mike Johnson had written a piece on it here on PW Insider not long ago. I get maybe Vladimir. I don't want to speak out of school, but I think he's having some health issues or a rough patch or whatever, and it'd be really meaningful to him to see the thing released. And since they went to all the trouble and spent the money and it's done, why not? I have no idea. I've seen Vladimir going back, God, is it 30 years now or more, not only at wrestling events when I was with the WWF, but also conventions up in the Northeast and fan fests. And he's one of the most dedicated guys you could ever run into, and he's always happy and always smiling, etc. I've not spent an inordinate amount of time with him, but just to the effort and the expense and the commitment that he has put into for I don't know how many years, going back 30 years or more, to go to all those shows, to be a presence there, to experience everything. He's on every highlight video it's ever been made because he's probably been in the building more often than Vince has at this point. So I think it would be great if they showed everybody what they did after yanking the guy's chain and milking everybody. It'd be nice to finally see it. I have no idea why they couldn't figure out some way. It makes their company look good. So I have no idea what they're doing.
Catch and kill.
Yeah, but in this case, they raised it. So they raised it and then caught it in a barrel. It wasn't hard to catch it when they raised it, and then they killed it. You're only supposed to catch and kill shit that's out there in the wild that you don't want anybody else to have.
Well, we'll see what happens to Vladimir's documentary. Any thoughts on other WWE superfans?
I'm not trying to intimate that they should go hunt Vladimir down like a remake of The Most Dangerous Game because he's out there in the wild. I'm not saying that. Now, let's clarify that. As to they do a good job on the documentaries. That's one of their fucking strong points. And as we just have mentioned, the Ruthless Aggression series and the blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they rewrite history when they have to, but on a lot of stuff that flies under the radar that Kevin Dunn or Vince ain't ever going to see or they don't care about or whatever, they do it. Plus, you get to see all the footage and comments with so many of the guys. So, like I said, that's one of the things they do best, and now we don't get to see that. I don't know.
All right, Jim. Well, one topic that a lot of people have sent in a question about. Now, let's try to be nice here. Did you see the news about Big Swole retiring? Or, excuse me, not retiring, leaving AEW? Oh, come on. Well, it appears you have heard the news, and you are reacting in a way that we feared you would react to the news that Big Swole...
I mean, I've never met the young lady, have nothing against her. As Dennis Miller once said about the reunification of East and West Germany, I've seen their previous work, and much like Martin and Lewis, I'm not anxious to view a future collaboration. I'm entirely certain that Big Swole can find something to do somewhere that she enjoys and fulfills her, as long as I don't have to watch her on my wrestling programs, on the TV, then everybody prospers.
All right. I guess that summed it up.
Everybody should be allowed to quit doing what they don't do well anytime they want.
The name still gets me because she was neither big nor swole. Yet her name was Big Swole.
I thought she had John Fell's disease, where she was just clumsy and bruising herself all the time and always swollen.
John Fell's disease.
Yeah, that's what they call it now up at Johns Hopkins up there in Baltimore. They've named it the John Fell's disease. People that just walk down the street and just intermittently fall over sideways for no apparent purpose or reason.
The statement that Big Swole put out announcing that she was leaving AEW, it says that it was a hard decision, but a needed one. And after speaking with Tony Khan and AEW higher officials, we've decided not to renew my contract with All Elite Wrestling. This is the nicest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's the difference in the two companies. Over on the other side of the fence, they send out to the world at large, we've decided to fire so-and-so's ass, and we hope he does better somewhere else, but he ain't going to be here. And over there, it said, well, we all got together and talked about this, and we thought it might be for the best for everybody that I don't do this anymore here. It's just a difference in tone. They should have that conversation in AEW a lot more often, because I can think of about 20 more people off the top of my head that if they are still there employed and are just not being seen on television, they need to be sat down with and said, you need to please hurry up and go somewhere else. Don't do this anymore.
And I think there may be just cause for a lot of those decisions. Maybe the work has been subpar. Maybe some have gotten out of shape. Maybe some really need to go back and reevaluate what they're doing and what it takes to be on national TV. And I think one of the things that it takes, of course, is a very healthy breakfast.
I think that they ought to reevaluate. They ought to go back and reflect, possibly do some meditation, possibly say a string of English words joined together that sounds sensible, but at the same time says absolutely nothing until they figure out the transition to their next commercial spot.
Hey, it works.
Which starts out, folks, with a happy, healthy breakfast. And I'll tell you what, the folks at Magic Spoon are going to fix you right up. Folks, you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth every day of the week when you get up and eat the Magic Spoon. Because when you were a kid, cereal was one of the best parts of it. You're eating the spoonfuls of sugar and carbs and all kinds of dreck and poison. And now you want to give children cereal to the children so they can keep eating that poison, but you can eat the good stuff and outlive those little crumb-snatching rugrats. Because if you're trying to cut down on carbs and sugar and unhealthy food, don't be drinking protein shakes and that protein powder and gag a maggot off a gut wagon. You can get your protein. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'll tell you that stuff. It's offensive, but you can now have a delicious way to get your protein before or after working out. You can not only get protein, but you can get low carb, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving of Magic Spoon, but 13 to 14 grams of protein. See, there's almost 4 times as much protein as there is carbs. And when you put that in the Wayback Machine and do the computation, it figures out that every time you eat a bowl of Magic Spoon, you will lose 25 pounds.
That is not the way it works, and that is not a guarantee that Magic Spoon in any way stipulates, so please do not actually think that will happen.
Why wouldn't you think that if you eat a bowl of cereal, you'll lose 25 pounds overnight? That's certainly eminently doable. It's reasonable.
No.
It may not be true.
That part is true, that it's not true. The rest of it is false.
What I said was true. 0 grams of sugar in this fine product and only 140 calories a serving, but you'll want 2 servings. And if you have 2 servings, who gives a shit? It's only 280 calories. Okay, you can lick a postage stamp and gain more weight than that. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and you can build your own box. It's actually not a box. It's a box-like structure. But when you build your own box, the box contains a custom bundle of Magic Spoon cereals in all the popular flavors. You can pick what you want: cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, maple waffle. And then they've got those frozen eucalyptus nuts that you put on top of this stuff, along with the turnip sprouts.
What?
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going because I've lost my place. Oh, here it is. Go to magicspoon.com/Jim to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use the promo code Jim at checkout. You'll save $5 off your order of this amazing cereal. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. It's backed with the 100% happiness guarantee. If you eat a bowl of this, it will make your life happy for 24 hours or they will refund your money. So all your problems will disappear as soon as you eat.
I don't think that's the guarantee, and I don't think you should be stipulating, once again, that is the guarantee.
Oh, no, wait. The
Magic Spoon does not stand by this comment.
No, a happiness guarantee is if you're happy with their cereal. You can still be pissed off and miserable about everything else in your life, but you'll love the cereal. If you don't love the cereal, they're going to refund your money. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal $5 off with the promo code Jim at magicspoon.com/Jim. I'll tell you what, this stuff is fine. You sure it won't make you happy? I'm always in a better mood.
Well,
maybe just crush some of it up and snort it.
No, first of all, do not even recommend that. Eat it the old-fashioned way with your mouth, and it could make you happy, but there are no guarantees. You just said snort it up your fucking nose. There are no guarantees.
Well, that's snorting. That's not eating. But there's a guarantee that they will give you your money back if you don't like the cereal.
I should have said ingestion, not
That's
eating.
what but however you ingest, it's a mood elevator in some way. I don't know if you insert it anally. I have no idea.
No, don't do that either.
But it makes you feel better. It really does.
A mood elevator. All right.
That's what they call them.
Well, this transition right here is a moot elevator. And let's go to our next question, Jim. This was sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com. What an episode this week. From Andrew.
What a lot of people are saying.
This one's from Andrew. I've been following the show for the past year and love the content. You guys are very entertaining and two very great wrestling minds. Well, thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Jim, your Dark Side of the Ring appearances are awesome. That being said... Does
this guy want money?
That being said...
Uh-oh.
I wanted to drop in with a question. Who should take the AEW World title off Hangman Page? Should it be one of the big veteran names like Danielson or Punk? Or some young guys like MJF?
Who? Possibly some creditor should repossess it. That would go along with the story that he's been drunk and a failure, and now that he's just got his life back together and won the title, his past catches up with him, he owes everybody money, and some creditor comes and repossesses the world title belt until he pays some bill off, and then we end up with some accountant from Cleveland wearing the AEW world title. The fans will be in a frenzy. He'll be the hottest heel in the company. Or we could just not do any of that. I mean, I'm sure they've got Tony Khan has already said that the title succession has gone exactly the way he envisioned it, for good or bad. It's exactly the way he envisioned it. So since most of the things that he thinks of don't have a rhyme or reason, I can't figure out who he's got standing next in line. I've got to think Punk is a guy that doesn't need the belt, but I've got to think that Danielson eventually could be an incredible heel champion. That could
eventually?
What now?
Eventually?
Well, yes. Whenever he don't need to beat Page for it next week, or elsewise Page is kind of flattered in 4 o'clock. But at some point to manipulate the thing into his hands. He could work with everybody on the roster. He can talk. He's obviously got a ton of heat pretty much instantly over the last few weeks. So you could go in any direction from him, and it wouldn't be, detrimental to anybody's career to lose to Bryan Danielson. What do you think there, smarty pants?
I think I would put the belt on Danielson as soon as you can. Not rush it or anything, but, he's going to wrestle Page pretty soon. If not there, the rematch.
Well, when I said eventually, I wasn't talking about when he's goddamn old and gray and got a beard down to his crotch. I was just talking about not next week, because you'd make Page look like a spare prick at the wedding.
From what we've seen of heel Danielson the last few weeks, see, my thing is now I don't want to see him beat. I want to see him get a long title reign where he's this guy just kicking the shit out of people. Because then it means something when CM Punk, who doesn't need the belt, says, you know what, I want the belt because this guy's doing this and I know him. I've known him a long time. I was best in the world too. And there you got something people are interested in. I think eventually you can put it back on Page. I think, I thought a while back it would be Page to MJF at some point. Because I think MJF, it may be too early now, but I think he's on that future trajectory, I would think.
If MJF wins it, I'd like to see him beat someone with a little bit bigger name and a longer back history than Adam Page. I would like to see him take it off of a Danielson or a Punk.
But I think Danielson, neither guy needs the belt, Punk or Danielson, but Danielson with the belt makes a lot of sense. And the big match, whenever down the road, Punk versus Danielson for the belt, we said a while back that was the biggest match they could have before either guy was there. I still think that.
I think you're right. As far as selling tickets or pay-per-views or whatever the metric is, Punk and Danielson with something important on the line and a sufficient build would be the biggest thing they could do. Or they could bring Cody back into the title picture, renege on the stipulation, have him beat Page and turn around and drop it to Danielson on a fucking contract cash-in in about 10 seconds. And then the people could boo Cody out of the building.
What do you think about the idea of Cody going back on the stipulation? Which, the more you think about it, why even do the stipulation at the beginning if you weren't going to go back on it eventually?
Because he found, since apparently Tony Khan had the title succession already in his mind, because he said just, last week or whenever, that it's gone the way that he originally envisioned. Cody was looking at it, well, what about me? You left me out. Wait a minute. I've got an idea. I can't win it, so I'll figure out a way that I don't get to challenge for it. And then nobody will ever know as to whether I could be the champion or not, blah, blah, blah. I think that's what's happened here. Early on, why would the guy lose a match that is a called finish to indicate that he could never wrestle for the championship again unless he knew he wasn't going to get it to begin with, and that means he's going to be doing a lot of fucking jobs. Your thoughts? Is there any other reason to do that stipulation that early in the company unless you're like, I'm going to get this out of the way because it's going to look bad when I'm not in the mix with Jericho and Moxley, and he didn't even know about Danielson and Punk.
Did Tony Khan say when he formulated his plan for the first 4 champions?
Before he started the company, I would assume. He said, this is the way that I envisioned it when we started out.
It couldn't have been before it could have been in his head. I was going to say he didn't know he had Moxley yet at that point. So, I mean, just was it when he started TV? Did he say, these are my first 4 champions when he started the tournament? What was it?
You'll have to ask him.
Because did Cody bow out? Did Cody bow out? It was one of those dumb Cody ideas. You know what? I'll show everyone. I'm not going to be like Triple H. I'm not going to be like Jeff Jarrett.
No.
I'm going to introduce a stipulation that makes no sense at all.
I'm more than happy to be corrected by anyone with firsthand knowledge of the situation, but I'll guarantee you, as Uncle Tommy used to say, that Cody did this stipulation because he wasn't going to be the champion imminently or anywhere in the foreseeable future.
What would you do with Cody right now?
Turn him heel. I would turn him heel as the wronged babyface that is more and more frustrated. And can't you people see how great I am and how great I've been? Can't you see that I am not only a brilliant wrestler, but a brilliant actor, and I have a brilliant wife on a brilliant reality show with a brilliant baby that brought an end to racial strife, and that everything, I am the chosen one, the son of a plumber who is the son of a worldwide icon. Everything about me. I live in a great house. I have the best neck tattoo. I've got the best stooge friends that come over and do shit for me whenever I want just to get on my reality show. He's the best of everything. And you people can't see this, and you can't admit it to yourself. And I've tried to do all these things. I've set myself on fire for you, and I've given to charity, and I've hosted crummy game shows just for you people to have the privilege of seeing me. I don't, whatever the fuck, play with it. But at some point, if he just cracked mentally and say, you know what, fuck it. You people can't realize the greatness of me and Brandy. All the things that we've done for you, we have let you watch our child be born on television. Who else would do that for you people? You don't mean to he would have people coming at him with flamethrowers and fucking bailing hooks.
I think it's the only thing to do with Cody that would actually excite people, because I think what we've seen lately has been a distraction more than anything else. They're into the booing of Cody more than they're into the actual matches.
Yeah, they're not watching the match because they're having too much fun telling him that they don't like him, because they know that they either know or think, like we've said, this could be some deep psychological thing. With Brandy, she just wants to be on TV, but Cody may be able to think a little deeper. And that's why I've posed the theory, proffered the speculation on the program last week that is this all a brilliant psychological ploy, that he's doing everything possible to make yourself a babyface that you can do, but he's having it all go horribly wrong or something. You know, that's the only other explanation I can think of as to why they just don't go with the flow here. Unless he's either doing this masterfully to make people dislike him while still being able to give the bulldog thing. It wasn't me. I wasn't even there. I didn't say that. I don't mean that. Whatever. Either that or they're just completely oblivious that nobody wants to see their life on a reality show. Nobody wants to see Brandy do the things that Brandy's doing. And they've turned against Cody because they feel like of all the wrestlers there, and you said it, even if you don't like Twinkle Toes, even if you don't like the Hardley Boys, they're out there every week or almost every week, or they have been doing what they think is good, trying. They're failing miserably, but they try. They're at least Cody's like flittering in and about from reality shows and game shows and wanting to be an actor. And the people are not happy with that because he's not committed to their thing.
You know, my favorite is, it still makes me laugh. The one a few weeks ago, I don't even remember all the participants, but in the ring, there's a beatdown and the place is going nuts because the Lucha Brothers and Alex run out. And then they're in there fighting with FTR and probably
Cody's coming down the bleachers.
And all of a sudden, no one's paying attention to Cody. And for no reason, because why would Cody be coming out of the bleachers? He's not Jon Moxley. Cody is coming out of the bleachers late to the dance to jump into this fight, and no one cared. It was the funniest visual ever.
Well, but see, that's what I'm thinking. When you look at it the other way, besides, where was he getting a fucking hot dog? That didn't make any sense, but he's coming from a different place. He's in the wrong place. He's not where he should be, and he's late to the fucking fight to help anybody. But even though he tried, that so subliminally, people are like, well, where were you? Blah, blah, blah. But he could say he was trying. I think it's all a brilliant psychological ploy. He was trying to help. He was just in the wrong place, and it took too long. Because why else would you do that? Look at me. I was up here taking a shit, and I ran down here.
You bring up Martin and Lewis. I swear to God, him and Brandy are the Martin and Lewis of AEW. I find them so fucking funny. Everything they do, if you think about it in comedy terms, you realize it's great. It's hysterical. Everything they do is wrong and funny. By the way, speaking of kayfabe and Dean Martin, did you see his daughter just put out a book?
I did not.
She's saying that the drinking was all work.
Well, it wasn't all a work, but much of it was a work. Yeah. That's been established. Because that was his gimmick. And he was, working the gimmick. But he was a little toasty all the time, but he wasn't fucking off the beam. And that helped him get out of rehearsing when he had the deal for the variety show. He never had to rehearse because they figured, well, he'll just show up and get drunk anyway. So they had stand-ins do it. And then he just wandered through the show like he'd seen it for the first time right before they went on the air. And that was what was enticing and entertaining about him. Unlike Cody and Brandy, Dean Martin and Goldie Hawn were an entertaining couple.
Well, Jim, as we have known, as it was established, Dean Martin was pretending to be drinking. Was he pretending to be nuts is another question.
No, that was Jerry Lewis. Martin was pretending to be drunk. Lewis was pretending to be nuts. But none of us have to pretend about nuts.com because it actually exists and it's right here in front of us or in front of you on your computer or wherever you may be located. Nuts.com is watching you. It's around wherever you go. Because nuts.com, say it with me, Brian, it's the best kept secret of savvy snackers across the country. See, once I learned how to walk that tightrope, I never fall off. And now new customers to nuts.com are going to get 10% off. I mean, we can talk about the incredible variety of snacks and pantry items available, candies, dried fruits, baking mixes, pasta, the high-quality, delicious snacks like the white chocolate toffee cashews, the bourbon pecans, the honey sesame sticks, the wide variety of nutritious, delicious, healthy nuts, dried fruit, flours, grains, and so many other high-quality foods delivered straight to your door. They've got dried mangoes, I'll have you know, plus all the raw, organic, roasted, salted, candied, and chocolate-dipped nuts that you can imagine. And I'll tell you what, that prune casserole is to die for. Folks, unbeatable quality and delivered fresher than from the supermarket. Most orders ship the same day. So, for all you nuts.com fanatics out there, you know it's good, but if you're a new customer, you can get 10% off your first order by texting experience, the word experience, to 64,000. Experience to 64 and 3 zeros to get 10% off your first order from nuts.com. Brian, you just had a box delivered and you've been nuts for days.
Listen to this. I decided to make a big order on Friday. I got the kids to all tell me what they wanted. It was like a $300 order. I got an email back saying that, thank you for your order. It'll ship Monday. Expect to have it by Wednesday. I said, that's fine. It's a lot of stuff. I got it Sunday. After they'd sent me another email earlier that day saying it's expected to ship on Monday. I think maybe because here in North Jersey, we're close to their plant or one of their plants. They have several that they just had their own courier. But no, it arrived here the day before they said they were going to send it. That's extraordinary.
So the only other way they can do better is to send you the shit before you actually order it.
Before I think about it. Before I even know what I want. But they know what I want because it's everything. They got those fresh rainbow sprinkles. Go buy some store sprinkles. You'll understand why this is a big deal to people with kids who like ice cream. Fresh rainbow sprinkles. Unbelievable.
But they do know what you're thinking about because the bourbon pecans also have tracking devices. So once you eat the bourbon pecans, then from now on, whenever you think about nuts, they automatically put them in the box and send them over. Nuts.com. Text experience to 64,000.
Yes, sir.
Terms apply. Available at nuts.com/terms. Who has looked at nuts.com/terms? Have all of you out there done your homework? Cult of Cornette listeners, have you gone and read the terms, reviewed the terms, agreed to the terms at nuts.com/terms? You need to get on that. All right.
Well, Jim, with all this talk about your Christmas cameo chaos and all the other business, we teased, I think, on the experience this past week that maybe we should review some cameos to build up towards your return to the popular platform.
Well, yeah, and also just to see what the competition looks like, what the lay of the land is out there. I haven't offered cameos since it was August before the website launch and everything. So maybe the landscape has changed, and now people have upped their game. They've upped the production. They got the fancy iPhone Mach 17 like I did, and they're putting some time and effort into these things. And as a matter of fact, I got a gift of a cameo we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the show. Who would I want a cameo from? And I said immediately Barack Obama, or to meet or to get an autograph from or to speak to or take his fucking trash out. I'd do anything. And I said, but most of the people that I want to hear from are dead, right? Imagine a cameo from Boris Karloff, maybe doing a Grinch line at Christmas, something like that. But guess who came through? John Fell got me a cameo from Ricky Medlock. And sent that to me just last week. And now you say, oh, wow, because you're searching, trying to figure out who Ricky Medlock is.
I know who Ricky Medlock is. I'm wondering if in the cameo he said Michael Hayes owes me money.
Okay, well, he didn't say that. But okay, I just wanted to make sure for those uninitiated, Ricky Medlock is now a member of the revamped lineup of Lynyrd Skynyrd, has been for some time. But originally, he was in Blackfoot, who gained greatest fame for their hit recording Train that was used by Brad Armstrong and Tim Horner, the Lightning Express. But the reason why I like Ricky Medlock, do you remember seeing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame celebration when they put Skynyrd in? And I can't remember how many years ago it was now.
I don't remember.
Probably 10 years ago. But the point is the star performer of the entire night. I can't remember who the rest of the class was. I can't remember what anybody else did, but Ricky Medlock was having the time of his life. Not only was he one of the youngest and most ambulatory people on the whole program, but also he had to be thinking, holy shit, I was in fucking Blackfoot, right? He was never going to, he couldn't get in the Hall of Fame unless he bought a ticket. Because I like Blackfoot, but let's be real, right? But due to age, infirmity, and specifically a plane crash, he got to be a member of Lynyrd Skynyrd and got to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he took that stage over. He was having the time of his life. He was fucking just going crazy out there. The guitaring and the singing and the carrying on. Ricky Medlock was the star of the show, and I got a cameo from him courtesy of John Fell. So that was a cool thing.
All right.
But so what is the landscape of cameos like out there now?
Well, for the record, once your cameos go on sale, what is the price?
The price is the same as the price was before, $150, which some of it goes to Cameo and some of it goes to Hotchkiss. And as we've mentioned...
Too low.
And no, quit. As we've mentioned, I'm also going to be, before the end of the year, when I make my year-end contributions, going to be assimilating part of the Cameo money as well. On everybody gets a donation this year, the Crusade for Children, the Humane Society, and the American Cancer Society. And they're all going to be in honor of or under the name of, not the memory of, they're not gone, the Cult of Cornette that's given me such a successful year. So there you have it.
But you look down on them when you make it so cheap.
What?
You're saying you people need it to be cheap. You can't afford it. And I think they can. And I think they want to.
No. I'm not looking down on them, Brian Last. I'm giving them a hand up. I'm saying, look at here. For the low price of only this, you get to experience the verbal tongue lashing of a lifetime, and I'm reaching a hand down and I'm helping them up. rather than thinking ill of them.
Jim, how much do you think Powerhouse Hobbs charges for Cameo?
Oh, for Cameo. I was going to
for Cameo. What's wrong?
Well, I thought you were going to say charges for a match. I was going to say hopefully about $1 million because we never get to see him wrestle. $69.95.
$35.
Well, now that's too low. That's remarkably low. But maybe it's giving him practice because he never gets to talk on TV either.
All right, let's see. Looks like there's a video up here.
And basically, you brought that up, by the way. He has a tremendous match here several weeks ago. A match that lifted him up in everybody's perception. Has he wrestled since? Has he spoken since?
Hey, you know what?
Have we seen him do anything but stand there in the background since? Maybe he's doing the cameos to get practice doing interviews.
Well, this is interesting. I'm noticing on his page there's only one free one available to check out, so we'll check it out momentarily. But when I said $35, that's for personal use. A personalized video for you or someone else.
Also, what else if it's not for you or someone else, who's it for? The fucking bees in the trees?
Well, there's one here for business, $210.
What?
Engaging video content for your company, customers, or employees. What's that?
Is there a sample?
Hold on, let's see. Choose an option for business. No, it only gives me the chance to book it. I could book Powerhouse Hobbs to talk to my business, my customers, or my employees.
Well, maybe if you had a power plant, you'd went, now here he is, our mascot, Power Plant Hobbs.
Any of you steal, this is the man you're going to talk to. I have a video here that he sent in. Let me press play.
Yeah, there you go. Powerhouse Hobbs on fucking in-company theft. I'm going to get you, boys. I'm going to put the hammer down on you.
All right, let me refresh this page so we can actually get this video to play. Here's Powerhouse Hobbs. Well, there was Powerhouse Hobbs.
AEW superstar.
Well, it appears that it just starts playing. Let me see if I can pause it from the beginning here. All right, I think I got it this time. And I even got the sound working. Here's Powerhouse Hobbs.
What's up, everyone? This is Powerhouse Hobbs, Team Taz member, AEW superstar. I am on Cameo now, so hit me up with your request, if you dare. What?
All right, simple.
Okay, simple and to the point. Short. Was that the $35 job?
That was the sample to show you what you or potentially your employees could hear.
Powerhouse, if I were you, I'd put a little bit longer sample out there.
See, a lot of these samples seem to be a lot shorter. It used to be there were more. Now there's only one. How much do you think Malachi Black charges?
Well, now would this be in euros or in Dutch guilders or in pieces of 8?
US dollars.
US dollars. $69.95.
$140.
Ouch!
Here's Malachi.
AEW superstar Malachi Black here. And if you are looking to congratulate friends or family, hell, maybe even hex some coworkers, then I'm at your service in my own very unique way. So remember, house always wins.
And he's got his whole eye gimmick, and not bad.
Still a little short. I have a variety of mine up on I've gone to my page now. Seems like there's a variety of them there.
So Hobbs did it, and now Malachi did it. How many AEW wrestlers have to call themselves superstars before Jerry McDivitt gets on the phone to Mega over at AEW? Right, isn't that one of the words they protect?
I think that's what they call their wrestlers, is the superstars. So there you go. How many reviews do they have there? How many reviews on Malachi Black there?
Oh, maybe that's why there isn't much, because these are new. I was going to ask you. Let me go back to that.
Because I got 105 of the 5-star reviews on mine.
Jim, how much do you think Ultimo Panda charges?
Who? What?
Ultimo Panda.
Is this a Chinese bear, or is this a wrestler, or who is the Ultimo Panda?
Well, here he is. I'll let you tell me how much you think he charges after this plays.
Panda, 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 panda. Panda, 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 panda.
What the fuck?
So, Jim, how much do you think Ultimo Panda charges?
I think he sends you $50 if you'll listen to him.
Did you know he was voted Lucha Promo of the Year last year?
He's a luchador.
I don't know. I mean, I think Ultimo would make you think luchador. Ultimo Panda. By the way, I'm going to just tell you, for personal use, this video, $25, but $175 if you wanted to talk to your business. Or
yeah, what is the goddamn deal with the personal and the business? See, I mean, maybe, well, see, Ultimo Panda is trying to wangle a Panda Express sponsorship with the business thing, I guess, but I've never heard that there was a double price tier for personal or for business. Whatever you want from me, whether it's your business or your monkey business or your funny business or just for me to delve into your personal life and explain to you what's wrong with you, I charge the same thing. I don't know that it's fair to be just, changing these prices around. Ultimo Panda.
Thank you, everyone, for coming here to the CBS retreat. We have Tony Robbins later, but first, we have Ultimo Panda here to give you a speech. This is one of the things he does on the side. He speaks to businesses. Well, Jim, let's find out if this next one speaks to businesses. How much do you think Hugo Savinovich charges?
Hugo! Wild! Hugo's a reasonable individual. He's probably going to go $59.
To get a cameo from Hugo Savinovich, the official voice of wrestling in Spanish, Ecuadorian sports commentator, and retired professional wrestler, it's $30. Or, if you are a business, $210.
What the? This must be something new that they're opting into. I'm not well versed in this. I don't know what to say about the business and the personal use. It's like, I can understand if they said, okay, we're only going to give you like an ounce or less of Cameo for your personal use.
Well, let's hear what Hugo's offering his fans for $30 or the greater business community for $210.
Tángana, fuego, fuego, Shushi llama a los bomberos, un saludo a los muchachos de Red TV, Fénix de Ponce, Brocky, Caballero Verde, Chucho Star, La Cabra Negra y a el Come Cogollo, el campeón celestial de la lucha libre y el papá de todos ustedes, el único personaje sobrenatural que representa la luz. Así que un saludo para el Come Cogollo de parte de la Shushi y Hugo Savinovich, un Atangana y por poquito.
Well, there he is, the former Mr. Wendy Richter.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
He had a parrot, for the record, also.
He had a parrot?
He had a parrot while doing this video. Jim, here's an interesting one.
Do you have a Jimmy Buffett t-shirt on also?
How much do you think Adam Scherr charges? The former Braun Strowman.
The artist formerly known as Strong Bro Man.
Who's listed here as former pro wrestler, actor.
Oh, God. Well, since I've gathered he has a fairly high opinion of himself since he's a WWE superstar and he's never actually been in the wrestling business, so he's probably charging $250, $300.
$150? Or
so he thinks he's as good as me, huh? You think you're as good as me? Mr. Mendelbaum, you think you're as good as me? He thinks he's as good as me.
If you are looking for an engaging video for your company, customers, or employees, $5,000.
What? What? Wait, what? So wait a minute. So the fucking dipshit that wants me to cut a promo on his website, I need to charge him $5,000.
$5,000. Well, here, let's find one. We have a few birthday celebrations.
I hope Coca-Cola picks him up as a spokesman, because that's the only kind of advertising budget that he's going to be speaking to a company over.
Well, here's the former Braun Strowman.
Hey, what's going on, Kyle? It's Adam Scher here. Hey, just wanted to wish you a happy 33rd birthday. Thank you so much for being such a big fan of mine, man. I really, really appreciate it. You don't understand how much it means to me. Hey, I heard you've been working hard towards getting to being a deputy, but I heard you ran into a little speed bump on the way that's been keeping you out of the gym and stuff, man. I'm with you here, man. I hope everything goes well in your recovery. Remember, there's only one way to go from here, and that's up, brother. So wishing you the best of luck on your journeys towards becoming a deputy. And again, happy birthday, man. I hope it's a great day. Take it easy. I'll see you around.
Well, that was fairly nice. And of course, if he becomes a deputy for $5,000, he can come and talk to the other deputies, give him his thoughts.
I don't know. I have a feeling if he ever talks to a group of deputies, old Braun Strowman, the $5,000 will be the bail, not the charge.
Jim, how much do you think Platinum Max Caster charges?
Oh, well, it depends now. Is this uncensored? This is the stuff he can't say on television, right? So you got to call the hotline.
I think that's the stuff he says on television, but I'm not sure what he says here. There's a lot of others, his roast. But how much do you think he charges?
I think if it's for personal use, he's charging $40. And if it's for business use, he's charging $240.
For personal use, $150.
Jesus!
For business, $1,050.
God, what is the... Okay, whose business is Max Caster going to do $1,000 worth of advertising for? What
I don't think it's advertising
business.
I don't think that's what it is. You'd have to
not
pay more
necessarily
for that.
Advertising, but motivation, or what is the benefit to that? It's 10 times as much.
Well, here's the other thing: is it 10 times as long, or is it the same length as a normal cameo?
That's what she said.
Well, here's Platinum Max.
Is it
Caster.
10 times as long, or is it the same length as a normal one?
Here's Max Caster. Here's what you get for $150 for personal use only. It's like HBO. No duplication, no reproduction. Personal use only.
Yeah, you can smoke it, but you can't sell it.
Yo, listen. The acclaimed top of this one goes to Phil. The name from Kaylee for your 2-year anniversary. In the game and we in our lane. Everybody saying they want.
But you know what? I don't mind his rapping, but I'm gonna just call this one.
No, wait a minute. I want to hear now. Does he do a whole? Oh, has he written up a whole rap for Phil, or incorporating Phil's various personal life notations and everything? Has he put production into this? Is it what's the video look like? Is there a band behind him? Has he got a turntable?
He's in his he's in a room, I would think, maybe in his house. He's got headphones on.
In a room in a house with headphones.
But let's hear. I mean, it was very loud, and
well, it's always loud.
Let's hear if it's the same song for every one of these. Here's another one.
Yo, this one goes out to Mike from Nick. Top of the Yay, you're getting married. Yay! Yo, listen. Everybody saying that they wanna be acclaimed. Mike's getting married on the 23rd, but you better act right and start watching your words. I heard you wanna fight me and Bowen's in the ring, but we beat you. Take your wife and half your things. You can't beat us, huh? You must be kidding me. You're a little vegan with a protein deficiency. So eat a jackfruit. Get used to jacking off, cause when you're married, the sex life is slacking off. It's true. I think it's just the way of the world, Mike. But congratulations on getting married. I heard you and your brother Thomas think you can beat me and Anthony. Little tip, maybe start training in your backyard and work your way up. Maybe it'll work, and we'll see you one day. Peace.
All right, let me stop this before these sirens.
Okay, wait. A qualified round of applause there. I love that he incorporated the fellow into the rap there at the beginning, but you got to keep the music going. I mean, get the disco single, get the 12-inch single, keep the music going through the whole thing, because then it was flat at the end. But that's worth $150 to a fan of old Platinum Max there. He put some work and some effort into that.
I guess
What do
so.
you think?
I think
What do you
so.
think?
Jim, how much do you think? Can't believe this guy really has any here. He does. How much do you think Eddie Mansfield charges?
Oh, good Lord. I wouldn't think that he would want people to even know where he was or what he currently looks like in case they see him on the street.
Wait a minute. It says here, television producer, former two-sport professional athlete, wrestling, and Major League MLB, Major League Baseball.
Wait a minute. When did Eddie Mansfield ever play Major League Baseball?
Also, Emmy award-winning producer, which I don't know, but they give those to anyone. I could tell that from
I was about local Emmys.
Oh, yeah.
Local Emmys. You get one of those like you get a fucking advertising circular in your mailbox. But Eddie Mansfield charged $10. I wouldn't pay that.
$100 or $500 if you'd like him to speak to your business.
So this business thing must be a new thing. I guess when I turn my page back on the 12th, I'm going to have to get Hotchkiss on this. They're going to give me a business option, and I'm going to tell them to go piss off. They're all the same price. But $100 or the business option was what?
$500.
Eddie Mansfield, if he showed up with boots and gloves on and worked hard labor for 2 weeks, isn't worth $500 to your business.
Well, let's hear what he has to say.
Jason, the Continental Lover, Eddie Mansfield. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Remember, I'm 230 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. And you wanted to know about my early days. Well, my early days, my whole career was formed by Terry Funk, Dick Slater, Leon Ogle, and guys that really taught me the wrestling business.
Leon
and that's
Ogle.
Why I was
about to say, Leon Ogle not usually mentioned
the
Slater
and drew money everywhere I went. And you want to know about squats? Well, I'm going to tell you a little story about squats. Here's the way we used to do them. And they still do them. Some people do them this way. We used to do them with a deck of cards. Tatsumi Fujinami, probably the best at this, at Hindu squats that I saw. And he would do 3 decks of cards, turn them over. You know, if it was a 5, you do 5. You turn them over a king, you do 10. You turn ace over, you do 11. Or you can cheat, and you can just do 1 if you wussy out. But most guys don't wussy out. There's a few that do. And you want to know about Frank Brody? A little Bruiser Brody stories. Well, you know, when I was in San Antonio, Texas, when Scott Casey and myself tore up Southwest Championship.
Is he on the side of the road doing community service?
I used to go have breakfast with Buck Rowley, who came in as a booker.
All right, let me get off Eddie Mansfield here. He's standing by the side of the road, just talking. I don't know why you wouldn't wait until you're in a better location to do this.
He has no home.
He's a former Major League Baseball player, according to this.
He lives under a bridge like all the other trolls.
Here's a wrestler I've never actually seen wrestle, but he appears everywhere. How much do you think Andrew Anderson charges?
I've seen, I don't see anymore since I don't go out in public, but I've seen Andrew Anderson at every fan fest or wrestling convention I've been in for the last 10 years. And I'm like you, I don't know that I've ever seen him wrestle, but he appears everywhere. I bet you he's going for quantity and not trying to jacky everybody. I'm thinking he's $35.
Wow, pretty good. $30, or of course $200 if you are a business. Still active pro wrestler of over 26 years, co-star of Academy Award nominated feature film The Wrestler. Let's see what the co-star of The Wrestler is.
Co-star? Wait a minute, co-star? Isn't there something in the SAG bylaws that you have to be billed so and so high on the card, as they say, to be an actual co-star, and everyone else is a supporting player, bit part, etc.?
I think so. Let's hear. Maybe he addresses that in this cameo.
Possible.
And perhaps I will do it again and have it going. Here we go.
Fans, it's the Reinforcer Andrew Anderson, and I have finally got on Cameo, and I'm here to say hello to you, all your friends, and leave you a personal message. To your liking, give me a holler. You've seen me in The Wrestler. You've seen me on Gotham. You've seen me on Sneaky Pete. You've seen me in the Skittles and Doritos.
I haven't seen you in the ring. That's where I haven't seen you.
Wait a minute, Skittle, you mentioned Skittles and Doritos and you turned it off. That was
commercials,
the best part.
and you see me at SWE Fury TV. So get yours today. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I hope you get yours today, pal. He mentioned the only wrestling promotion last after Skittles and Gotham. And by the way, I wrestle for this fucking promotion also.
Jim, how much do you think Larry Zbyszko charges?
Leapin' Larry Zbyszko, the living legend, the mayor of Larryland, $95.
$45, or of course...
that's way too low for a wordsmith like Larry.
Of course, $315 if you'd like him to talk to your business. Or customers. I like that. It's not even just your company or employees. Customers. Multiple options there. Here's the man from Larryland himself.
This is Larry Zbyszko, wrestling living legend, and I have a request here for Miss Karen Dolan. Karen, I hope everything's great. All is good here in Larryland, and the big L to you. I have an interesting request because a question about Vern Gagne, and I think I want to answer this in a way that makes sense because I really didn't know Vern when he was in his young years. He was way before my time. But Vern, I believe, also wrestled in the Olympics, maybe in the 30s or something. But Vern Gagne was basically a good guy. And he was a tough guy, one of the old school tough guys, like Luthez and Billy Robinson, and there was some other ones. But Vern, you could go in the ring and keep up with anybody back in his prime. And in terms of the AWA and Vern, running it and stuff, a lot of great names came out of the AWA. Bobby Heenan and Mean Gene Okerlund. And, God, I can go on with more.
All right, well, Larry's enjoying reminiscing. That's what you could hear for $45.
I love when he put Vern in the Olympics in the 30s.
In the 30s.
Vern and Londos headlined many events. Vern, actually, it was the 1948 that he was the NCAA champion, right? And then he made the Olympic team, but he did not medal, correct? Or am I giving him more than he gets credit for?
That may be right. I think George Shire should be consulted right now.
We'll consider, but definitely not Larry, because he doesn't have Vern's bio right in front of him. But he was trying to stretch that out so the consumer got their money's worth.
I understand Hitler was incredibly impressed with Vern in Berlin.
Yeah, in 1936, if Vern hadn't taken Jesse Owens down and stretched him, the whole world would have turned out differently.
Jim, how much do you think a former Smoky Mountain Wrestling alumnus, how much does Brian Clark charge? The former Adam Bomb, Chronic,
the former Night Stalker,
U.S. military vet, Central Missouri State Football something, All Japan champion. How much does he charge?
Well, is he charging per persona or just all of those people in him like Sybil?
He looks like Hillbilly Jim now.
Well, that Hillbilly Jim's a nice-looking man, so that's not necessarily bad. I can't see what you're looking at, but he's going for $60.
$75 or $525 if you are a business looking to hear from Adam Bomb. Here he is.
Cameo world to the bomb shelter. I am Brian Clark, the former Adam Bomb, creation of devastation. Wrath, one half of Chronic, the 3-time World Tag Team Champions and the All Japan Champions. And guess what? I am here for you. That's right. For birthdays, wedding, anniversaries, parties, you name it. Even if Big Aunt Sally has to have that tooth pulled. And if you just need someone melted down and taken to ground zero, I'm your man. Welcome, Cam.
All right, let me stop that. It's on a loop.
I like the spooky music. Should I do background music?
No. What would you play in the background?
The Cult of Meat with Extra Cheese?
No, you cannot do that.
Well, I'm always trying to look for a way to keep up with the competition and upgrade my services to the people. So I may have to get Hotchkiss to do me a soundtrack. He plays the electronic kazoo and the oboe.
Jim, how much does Velvet Sky charge?
Well, I don't want to get into these type of situations. I mean, it was always strictly on a barter basis between me and Velvet.
Will you stop it?
I'm just joshing. She's a fine young lady. Very virginal. $100.
$55.
Oh, that's too low. What's she wearing?
Or $200. Will you stop it, you pig? $200 if you'd like her to speak to your business or customers.
Depends on what my business is.
Well, here she is with something #other.
Hey Kevin, it's Velvet Sky. I want to say first and foremost, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for always being so kind and so sweet and so cool. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you for checking out me on the Crazy Nutso Bunch podcast. We are a crazy bunch of just crazy people, I guess. Those are my buddies from my hometown and they're hilarious. So thank you for checking that out. Thank you for being involved in everything I do. I really appreciate you. I hope you're doing great and I hope you're happy and you're healthy and stay blessed. And I'll talk to you soon and hope to see you soon. Bye, Kev.
Oh, this poor guy. This poor guy. This poor guy thinks she's really, I don't know.
What?
I don't know. You know, I feel
He's
bad.
Happy.
These girls must have so many weirdo fans.
Well, now you're saying that this guy was a weirdo just because he wanted to have Velvet Sky wish him continued success in life and thank him for being a fan. I do the same thing, sometimes with a little coarser language. I don't care how much you pay. I'm not wearing a two-piece bathing suit for these cameos.
She doesn't appear to be doing that as either. I don't know why you judged her that way, but here we have a big one here, Jim.
A big one.
How much does Luther charge?
Oh, my God. What is the price of a baked potato with arms and legs these days? I would say he's advertising a price, but to charge it would indicate that he's sold one, and who would want one? So I'm saying that his advertised price is $19.95.
$35, unless you are in the business community, in which case it's $245 to hear from this man.
What business would you have that in any way Luther could promote, talk nice about, or in any way augment in a positive fashion?
Hello. I'm two-time Daddy winner, AEW superstar, and one half of the Chaos Project, Luther. And we're here right now together on the Cameo. So if you want to get a little shout out from me, or you want me to lay down the law against someone else that you want to send it to, click that button. Or if you just want to chat, click the other button. Let's spread some chaos.
And that's why he doesn't talk on TV.
Ooh, and there wasn't even any samples that somebody has purchased one. Just here's what I'll do for you if you ever have a life so miserable and lonely that you need me to talk to you. This is what it'll sound like.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get one more and then we'll wrap this up because I'm fed up.
We can't end on Luther.
You need to raise your prices. This is a bunch of shit. You see what else is out there? Come on.
No, I think they just need to lower theirs. Got to have some kind of goddamn hold on reality around here.
There are a lot of people in wrestling that I've never seen before or heard before. Crazy Steve? I don't know who these people are. Here's Evil Uno. We won't go there. I want to do that to the listeners. Well, why don't we end with one of our favorites from the past? Jim, do you remember how much Danhausen charges?
No, but it's got to have gone up since he's become the belle of the ball and more attention has gone to him. I would say they're now $90.
$50. Reasonable. Or
Still
$200.
a deal?
$200 if you'd like him to speak to your business or your customers.
What business would that be? A mortuary?
Well, here's Danhausen.
Danhausen here, very nice, for evil. Very famous. You know this, you know Danhausen. Yes, owns a light bulb with a fan in it. Quite wonderful. All right, hello, Noahhausen. This is Danhausen. This is, Noah and I watch your videos all the time. Oh, very good.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to call this one. I'm sick of him now. That sucked.
You're impossible to please. Oh, the guy just broke his leg. Buy a cameo from him. He's going to be out of work for a while.
There we have it. And
so basically what you're saying is that the majority of the cameo world is ridden with complacency and needs to be jammed up a little bit and stirred up and set on its ear.
Yeah,
do that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Let's end with this one. This will be our final one. Here is AEW superstar Red Velvet.
And I am now on Cameo, so don't be afraid. Send me a message. Send me a video request, whether it's for your aunt, your mom, your dad, whoever, you name it. I'll give them a shout out, birthday shout out, congratulations, graduation, whatever you want. Hit me up. I'm now on Cameo.
Well, there we go. Very, very pleasant and nice.
Was she also in an oil drum? Is she coming directly from Mammoth Cave? All righty then.
Well,
there's a fine cross section.
Let's look on the bright side. First of all, this definitely shows you that there's room for you to go and just dominate on Cameo. On the negative side, some of the listeners may have heard this segment and thought, this really sucks. We probably want to sue.
Oh, you just handed it to me like
that. Just handing it over.
Just
from my oil drum to yours.
Just dropped it in front of me like a cow pie in the road. Folks, I'll tell you one thing. I know who could sue anybody, so play the music and I'll get to it.
Call Stephen P. News. If you need to sue. An outlaw mud show or two. He'll sue the rest.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, even though it was transitionless, we're just going to talk about Stephen P. New because he's pertinent to what we've been talking about earlier. These assholes at Spectrum, Stephen P. New sent me some information that he feels that the entire cult of Cornette needs to be apprised of because many people have been saying, well, you ought to sue a company like Spectrum. Well, remember we talked about the arbitration provisions and the clauses that these people put in their terms of service, not only them, but all these major companies? The general terms, according to Stephen P. New, of all these agreements that you sometimes don't even sign, you just might click on, or you might just have to accept in order to get the service. If you want the medicine that'll save your life, you've got to check the box that indicates that if you have side effects and your uterus falls out in the street, that you can't sue anybody. General terms that Stephen is talking about contain a binding arbitration provision, which includes a waiver of your right to bring claims as class actions, a limitation on your right to bring claims against Spectrum in this instance or some of these other companies more than 1 year after the relevant events occurred. And you also give up your right to opt out of the foregoing provisions, which affect subscribers' rights under the general terms, etc., etc. Terms and conditions like these that these companies are foisting on us are the reason that Stephen P. New has to tell so many of his clients that they don't have a case. You might not even know that you've ever seen this shit before. But large corporations put these terms and conditions in contracts with customers, knowing that by not having the 7th Amendment right to jury trial, everybody wants to protect the 2nd Amendment. How about 7th Amendment, a right to a jury trial? You forego that. You give that up. You don't have right to sue at a class action. And the arbitration is heavily favored to large corporations. And unlike a jury trial, it's loser pays. So if you challenge somebody in arbitration, even if you're in the right, you lose, you owe the lawyer's fees. It's all a way to fuck us, folks. That's right. As an American citizen, you are daily, regularly screwed, blued, and tattooed and dicked by the dangle dong of destiny, unless you retain someone that knows how to navigate these treacherous waters. Stephen P. New at newlawoffice.com, 888-692-8084. He wrote the shit that I just read, so he knows all about this stuff. Stephen P. New is the man to uphold your rights and privileges and prevent you from foregoing or giving up or losing control of your rights and privileges as a human being. newlawoffice.com, 888-692-8084.
All right, Jim, let's get a question or two before we wrap things up. This next one was sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from John in Bristol, UK. Thanks for the great podcasts and insight. Do you think that NXT has possibly had a more negative effect on WWE than it has positive? I ask because in wrestling, a debut was always a big deal. Who is this guy? What can he do? Who's he going to feud with, etc., etc.? Now the audience knows pretty much everything about each new main roster debut. Then fans start whining about character changes when guys move to the main roster. Not a fan of his at all, but take Cena, for example. He was a monster heel, right? Then he debuts on WWE TV as a complete white meat babyface. It worked because few people saw...
When was he a monster heel?
In OVW, I think he's referring to.
He was a heel, but he wasn't a monster heel.
Well, maybe he hasn't seen OVW, John in Bristol. Let me go back to this. Debuts as a complete white meat babyface. It worked because few people saw OVW because it didn't have the reach of NXT.
Right.
So by NXT being so popular, has it created an issue for WWE in regard to actual development of talent, writing, etc.?
Well, I thought where he was going with that is, has NXT been detrimental to the WWE because their developmental program put on a better program with more exciting matches and more interesting shit, and it made the other programs, Raw and SmackDown, look bad? That's where I thought he was going. It's not NXT's fault that they don't know what to do with their talent. So NXT, the previous iteration of it, if they're going to have a third brand and a developmental brand on national TV, that was the best pretty much they probably could have hoped for. And then they changed everything about it, and that sucks pond water. But it wasn't NXT's fault that they... Obviously, one of the big attractions of wrestling in the old days was when somebody new came into your territory, you might have heard about them in the magazines, but you'd never seen them in person. And before the video era, you'd never seen them at all. You couldn't see them unless they were on your local TV or came to your town. Those talents were a blank slate. And you could bring in, of course, if it was a preliminary or an underneath guy, then, you knew that because that's where they were slotted when they came in. But if it was a main event guy, he was a blank slate to you. All you knew was big reputation, and whatever they did with him got him over. So it was always good to see people for the first time in that environment where they could be, elevated to a main event spot. Well, NXT on USA took that away, that they're going to see these talents because it's on USA Network. But what has never been explained, what there is no reason for, what there's no suitable explanation for, and no goddamn sense to, is taking a guy from NXT and bringing him to Raw or SmackDown and changing anything, name, gimmick, appearance, whatever. You're a fucking idiot if you've done that, not the talent, the office. You're an idiot if you've done it and you've just admitted that you're a dumb fuck and you don't know what you're doing, and you've ruined probably your talent. Because, yes, from OVW, which was on TV in one metropolitan area in the country and a couple of adjoining smaller areas, versus national TV, change them, do whatever you want. But when you're making a lateral move from USA Network on Tuesday to USA Network on Monday, or the Fox Network on Friday, and you change a guy's name or gimmick or look or manner of dress or whatever after people have already been watching him, you're just a complete fucking imbecile, is what you are. And instead of doing that, I've never, ever in my life changed a guy's name or gimmick after I had already put him on television and had the power to change it before. I put him on television under that name and that fucking gimmick because we thought it was good. And if you change it on the same television program or in front of the same audience on a different program but on the same channel, then you've just told those people, besides the fact that this is fake and this guy is phony, we obviously fucked up before and it was stupid of us to do that. So if you've got a talent that you want to use, but you think, well, I've fucked up, I've given him the wrong name or the wrong gimmick, and it ain't his fault, then fucking pay him for 6 months. It's $1 billion corporation. Pay him for a year. And have him go home and learn a new hold. Or a new fucking something, and bring him back after a year when people may have forgotten that he was the previous guy. And now he can be somebody else. You can't just, oh, shit, last week he was on Raw, but now he's on NXT. It's the same network and the same fans watching, but we're going to change his name and everything about him. That's fucking stupid.
Everyone who watched NXT and got excited about Karrion Kross and then saw him on the main roster. Keith Lee,
Yes.
same thing.
Yes. And I'm not changing someone that's already been on television, especially if you're changing him for the worse, is bad, but changing them for the better is not good either, because you've just changed him and told people this is all phony. He's not really that guy. He's somebody else. Or we'll tell him to be, and he'll listen to us because he does what we tell him. None of these things is good for wrestlers. You want people to believe that the person that you're presenting on television is that person. And when they go along with their name being changed and their the stuff they wear being changed, the way they're presented, then they're telling the fans, yeah, I'm as phony as a football bat anyway. So it's stupid. If you put a fucking guy on television and it's not the right name or the right gimmick, it's your fucking fault. Don't take it out on the talent, and don't fucking fuck him up just because you didn't know what you were doing. And the idea of changing a guy's name or gimmick after he's been on television, seen by the same audience that you're trying to foist him off on again, and you change that, you're a fucking moron. It's unforgivable. Otherwise than that, I have no opinion.
Okay, well, you've been pretty explicit in your thoughts on that. Jim, let's get what may be our final question. This was sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Graham in Sydney, Australia. Just in case you haven't seen it yet, Jim, Virgil is back on the corny train and possibly off meds, according to Graham here. Did you see Virgil's response to your latest video about his response to
I did. You were looking back to see if you were looking back to see if I was looking back to see if you were looking back at me. No, I haven't. We did talk about a couple of weeks ago. What was it? How did Virgil come up? that he had said something or done something. We remarked on it, and then he volleyed back. So this is a back and forth, but I'm not. Actually, the only time I hear about what he says is when you read it to me on the show. So go ahead.
Well, I think you've upset him this time. James Cornette has quite the nerve. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to read without laughing to this. James Cornette has quite the nerve. He claims my impact on the business will always be compared to King Kong's hog versus his big toys.
What? Wait, what? What? What?
It just right away goes there. He claims my... I can't read it. It's so ridiculous. He claims my impact on the business will always be compared to King Kong's hog versus to his pink dog penis in comparison. Yet, I would never even allow him to be considered as a freckle on a pink dog penis by comparison to my Godzilla hog. Even my sponsor, Olive Garden, has banned James from all franchises as they know his lack of poise wouldn't allow him in such a fine establishment. You, James, may remember when you got hot at me when I told you not to twist Missy Hyatt's nipples. Remember when voluntarily begged to give Missy and I a bubble bath in your Kentucky trailer while you wanted to do the twisty and use her nipples as a volume dial while you cut a blatantly loud promo to her about how I am your Lord Almighty God. He also admitted while drubbing my back that my meatballs mesmerize his brain to actually control all the things he has ever done successfully. I can't read this.
Where was all this shit when he was on television?
Oh, my God.
When he was on television, he just stood there with a sad look on his face. Now he's coming up with all this shit?
Examples like him stealing my role as the manager of the Midnight Express or trying to use a spatula, but I told him to use the tennis racket as a foreign object. You're going to use a spatula. All right, well, there it is. I mean, we'll stop there. It'll, I'm sure, continue at some point. Any thoughts on Virgil? Obviously, you've quite upset him.
I hate that he's upset. And, you know, I thought the spatula was a good idea. Because, you know, once somebody was Alabama jammed, then I could stick the spatula under him and flip him over. But I apologize to Virgil. Obviously, I've struck a nerve here, and it has something to do with Olive Garden and meat sauce and Godzilla's hog. And I'm suitably chastened. I do apologize.
Well, he's sorry.
But I'll tell you one thing, though. Boy, howdy, Missy's nipples, you know, they'll twist around 360 degrees. When they snap back, it could put somebody's eye out.
Well, he signs off here saying, I told him if anybody, and I mean, he wrote, let me redo this exactly how he wrote it. If antibody, and I mean anybody, is going to twist Misty Hyatt's nipples, it's me, the Gorgonzola gangsta, the marinara marauder, and the meat sauce boss. That's going to crank the beef straight down. Now bow down to the meat sauce god, James, and show a little respect. Is he writing Miro stuff?
I don't know, but I'm afraid somebody has spiked his Parmesan cheese.
Someone told me recently they saw him at a convention, and Ted DiBiase was at the convention, and they're on opposite sides and did not go anywhere near each other.
I think Teddy's got that in his contract.
Maybe so. Well, with that, the drive-thru is closed. Oh, man. Up until that last note, it was like perfect, and then I fucked it all up.
Oh, yeah, it was worthy of a classical symphony until you hit that last clinker.
Of course, the drive-thru will be back next week wherever you find your favorite podcast, and available this weekend is the Jim Cornette Experience. Wherever you find your favorite podcast, you get access to classic episodes of the drive-thru and the experience by becoming patrons. Patreon.com/Cornette. For only $5 a month, you get access to the shows going back to the very beginning in 2013. Patreon.com/Cornette. Don't forget to subscribe to the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Jim Cornette. Full episodes, clips of episodes, omnibus collections, all with the very popular Travis Heckel artwork. Check it out today, the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel.
Almost to 264,000 subscribers.
Of course, you can follow Jim on Twitter at @TheJimCornette. You can follow me on Twitter at GreatBrianLast. You can hear me on the 605 Superpodcast at 605pod.com or available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Don't forget about JimCornette.com and don't forget about the Christmas Cameo Chaos. Right?
Yes, don't forget about it. That's correct.
At JimCornette.com. The Drive-Thru is brought to you by the Law Office of Stephen P. New, 888-692-8084. Get even with Stephen at newlawoffice.com. But until this weekend on The Experience, and next week right back here on The Drive-Thru, for Jim Cornette, I'm the great Brian Last. Tally-ho!